Hey folks, we're back with another episode of 3 Men in Anime. Huzzah!
Yay!
This week we're covering my most recent selection. So we're doing things a little bit differently in that this is a show the three of us watched together originally separately while we were watching other series. We often will watch something else while one or two episodes of something else as sort of before we get into the show we're watching for the week.
Sometimes it's a palate cleanser, sometimes because we can only watch one episode at a time.
Sometimes because there's only one episode at a time because we're watching it as it comes out. God damn you, my hero!
Yeah. Jerk off, jerk show.
I love it, but god damn it, I have to binge that show because every week I swear at it for leaving me on a cliffhanger.
It's a jerk off, jerk show is what it is.
Right. But I decided that, A, we needed a palate cleanser after Parasite. And B...
that sentence is coming up far too many times after any of my suggestions.
Dude, one suggestion. That was Parasite. Parasite was...
No, to be fair, we needed a palate cleanser after Saikano for entirely different reasons.
Yeah, fair enough. Saikano was... Yeah.
But also because...
I have post-traumatic stress syndrome because of Saikano. I can't think about it without instantly screaming, which I'm doing now. You just
I actually liked how you actually managed to block it out. I completely forgot about it.
But at any rate, but we all decided after watching it the first time that we wanted to talk about the show at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I decided that this would be the time to do it because I had some other things that I knew Gav Eric hadn't watched yet or what have you, but I really wanted to cover this show because it's honestly it's special. It is. Anyways, we'll get to this. For starters, okay, we should talk about what Girls and Panzer is. Oh boy! All right, Girls and Panzer.
Girls doing cute things, but the cute thing they're doing involves heavy battle tanks and actual battlefield tactics.
Yes.
So
to be fair, if you're if I know that the title of the show is extremely cryptic, but if you know you're German, basically
it's Girls and Tanks. It's exactly what it says on the tin.
In tanks.
Yes.
Girls and Tanks. Yes, that's the title.
And tanks.
Yes.
That's exactly what it says on the tin.
But okay,
Yes.
that does not actually adequately prepare you for what the show is. It really isn't.
Tank Girl, this is not.
No.
You're really making this sound like some sort of giant, deep masterpiece of
no. I'm not trying
proportions.
to. I'm trying to ready people to prepare their ability to suspend disbelief because you need to. If you're not able to suspend your disbelief on a couple of points, the show is basically unwatchable. Now, all three of us had no problem doing it, and I think most people can. But I want to give people warning. Okay, so the basic premise is
We've
very
seen some
simple.
Weird shit.
This is true. The basic premise is actually very simple. It's set in Japan, modern days. It's set at a girls' high school, the Urai City or town, I forget which, girls' high school. There's a little asterisk on that, which we'll get to in a second. It is basically a normal all-girls high school. With three exceptions. Well, the third exception is mostly it's an anime high school, so of course the student council has ridiculous power.
Yes.
Okay, the two exceptions are there is apparently in this universe a sport called Sensha Do. Sensha is Japanese for tank or is basically Japanese for tank, and Do is the appellate you apply to a lot of things like judo or kendo
Taekwondo.
or etc. The do application means it's a sport, whereas jutsu is the actual combat art. So jujitsu is the full-fledged combat style, whereas judo is the sport style. Same with kendo and kenjutsu. So we now have
educational
Sensha Do, which is tank sport.
Or if you get a really hilarious sub like I got, Taekwondo.
Which is awesome. Taekwondo is one of the best translations for that I've heard, despite the fact Taekwondo is Korean, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I rather appreciate the old tankery.
Tankery is a good translation, honestly.
Yeah.
But at any rate,
Many different translations have renamed this. What was the other one it was being called? It was
it's a German term. I forget what it was.
Panzer
it's
something.
Something Fahren.
Yeah, Panzerfahren was what it was.
Panzerfahren, yeah.
All right. At any rate, so
There are a lot of fan subs
so
out
yes,
there.
yeah, there are a lot of fan subs. This show originally aired in theaters, the way Yamato 2199 and 2202 did. Yeah. At any rate, there's a lot of fan subs. But yeah, so it is there's Sensha-do is a thing, and it is practiced exclusively by girls and women. Men do not do Sensha-do. It is characters mentioned. They cannot comprehend, like, the thought of a guy in a tank just doesn't seem to go together.
Yeah. Verboten.
It's not that it's verboten. That's weird. Why would guys be interested
It's
in tanks?
considered incredibly feminine.
Yes.
Yes.
Sensha-do is an incredibly feminine martial art, basically.
Although I'm thinking about it, I'm willing to bet like that RuPaul's Drag Race has an entire thing about tankery.
Probably.
I might watch it in that case.
So yeah, that's the important bit right there. That's the big that's the arguably that is, you would think this would be the biggest weird thing about this high school. You would be wrong.
Yeah.
The really weird thing about the high school, and all the major high schools in Japan, all the major girls' schools in Japan, and probably all the guys' schools too, we just don't see them because it's about the girls. They're on aircraft carriers. Very large aircraft carriers with cities on the backs of them.
Yeah.
Instead of like launching planes from them, though they do launch planes from them, cities and the school. And they're out at sea.
It's like Macross, except not in space, or with transforming fighters, or giant aliens attacking all the time.
No giant aliens.
It's basically along the lines of it's like boarding schools, except to save on the land, they use the X-war ships.
Well, except they're not even normal. They're not even normal-sized aircraft carriers. They're super huge.
They're super carriers by any stretch of the imagination. They're several miles long.
They're
long enough that you can lose tanks on them.
They're large enough that you can lose tanks on them, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, long enough that there are cliffs on them.
Yeah, it's really freaking weird. As I said, if you can't suspend your disbelief on this point, you're done.
Yes.
The school ships are more like mobile islands.
They really are.
And also, one other thing is, as we've mentioned, not only is it like boys do not do Sensha-do, boys are basically not in this show.
Yeah.
Okay. There is maybe three male characters throughout the entire season.
They show up for like 10 minutes total in like across 3 episodes.
But having said that, this is not like some like statement against boys or anything like that. Men are not the evil thing. Men are not whatever else. It's literally just the case of, well, yeah, but men they're just not there.
Yeah, that's
not a dude thing to drive around in tanks and shoot giant fuck off cannons at each other.
They're very cool.
Why
about
would
that.
guys do that?
it's interesting. The important bit is it's focused on girls. That's fine.
Yeah, which means there's no goddamn love interest.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a Japanese high school drama with no love interests.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. At any rate, so the other important 2 notes that are sort of suspension of disbeliefy. Number 1, nobody actually gets hurt in this show. Tanks get wrecked. They are shooting live ammunition at each other. Rounds penetrate tanks and do serious damage to the tanks. Apparently, the crew compartments have something they called a carbon wrap or something like that protect the crew. That is the extent of their technobabbling on how the girls are entirely fine with all that's going on.
That is the biggest hand wave in the series.
It is a huge hand wave, but it allows the show to be fun and lighthearted without the grim specter of these girls are killing each other over at their heads.
Yes. They do
every match, everyone getting new stitches in their heads.
They do bring up a point as well that obviously in most tank warfare, tank commanders like to ride outside the tank.
Yep.
Because they get a better view of what's going on.
It was a very common among German tank commanders, apparently.
And one of the characters mentions to the tank commander of our hero's team is like, "Aren't you scared about getting hit?" And she's like, "No, I'm a very small target. It's mathematically very unlikely that I'd actually get hit, and I get to see around more." I'm just thinking, yeah, mathematically unlikely, but there's a good chance you're going to catch a 15-pound shell to the face.
Which is shrapnel.
The phrase...
It's still a possibility.
There's a phrase that it doesn't happen very often, to which my reaction is,
Yeah.
There are subtle implications that the girls do get hurt doing this. Because they're
constantly checking in on is everyone okay after a tank gets taken out.
Right.
Well, yeah, because there's still things like, if a tank gets hit hard enough, it does a flip.
Right.
Or they're still like rolling around inside the tank.
It's all metal in there, so. And they're not wearing body armor, so.
No.
Or even helmets.
They're wearing high school uniforms.
No. Yeah. At any rate, that's point one. The other point that you might have to suspend your disbelief on, notably, is these are high school girls who, if you look at their art, their arms are like pipe cleaners, and they are hefting around, like as Eric put it, to 15 to 25-pound shells. Now they are very clearly expending effort some of the time, like especially earlier on in the series. But by late series, yeah, they're like, yeah, we can do this, no problem. Okay then.
They go out of their way in some cases to show, like, especially the loaders themselves. You'll see them like practicing and just lugging shell, loading, lugging shell, loading, lugging shell, loading, and you do get that. But yeah, in battle they're just fine. It's like, oh, here we go. Can you increase the reload speed? Yes. Oh, I can't do that.
Well, you're not as badass.
I won't be using my arms for a week afterwards.
You're not as badass as these girls, Gav. That's just that simple.
Oh, I want to be as badass as a high school teenager.
With these girls? Hell, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously. Okay, so the show is predominantly about the main character. The show actually has a main character. It is also an ensemble cast, but there is very definitely a protagonist.
Yes.
The protagonist of the show is Miho Nishizumi. I believe that's her name. Let me just get it exactly right.
Yeah, I think it's definitely Miho.
Yeah, Miho Nishizumi. And now I want to say this flatly. If you don't want to be spoiled, this is a good point to pause and come back. Pause, watch the show, come back. If you don't, but because there's a lot of stuff that when we're talking about the characters that will end up leaking into plot points that you might not want spoiled. I don't think spoilers are that big a deal with the show personally. I think having most of the plot points be spoiled really isn't going to hurt the show, in my opinion.
Dude, we spoiled the fuck out of Madoka Magica. I don't think we have to worry about it.
We warn people, though.
That's true.
The issue with it is it falls into the same category as Gundam Build Fighters and everything else. Boils down to a tournament story.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a sports tournament show with tanks and cute girls.
So
this makes everything better. Just to let you guys know this. Tanks plus cute girls makes everything better.
So if you had to hazard a guess, do you think that our heroines are going to win a lot? Or are they going to lose in the first round, go out and go home, end of series?
End of series.
Right. So, yeah.
There's one major plot point that will come up, and which you might not want spoiled, basically. But I will say this. If you are surprised that they win the vast majority of their matches, you really haven't watched many shows of this, very many shows of this style. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so Miho is a second-year student at Orai. She's a transfer student. She's transferred...
They're always transfer students.
Yes, they are. She transferred from another school called Kuramine, which we'll get to later. They're important. And she just seems like a fairly normal girl with a couple of minor quirks. One, she's apparently very fond of teddy bears, which look like they're wearing bandages and stuff. And when she wakes up, her alarm clock goes up. She very regimented. She wakes up, folds her sheets, gets dressed, and is like rigid at attention when she realizes that she doesn't have to. for some reason. Yeah, because she's not at home. Is the implication, or at school, the previous school.
She looks like a cadet waiting inspection, and then realizes there's no inspection coming.
Right. So she gets
At which
dressed.
point, the appropriate thing that any cadet would do is instantly go back to sleep.
Yeah, well, she has to get ready for school. Her alarm clock did go off. So she goes out the door, locks the door, runs off, realizes that, runs back to double check that she's locked the door.
Which we've all done.
Which everyone has done. And we get a little bit of her going to school, walking by like a restaurant, walking by a bakery actually, and sort of appreciating the wonderful smells coming out of it. She gets a little bit distracted and walks into a telephone pole. She sees some girls running by. She gets to school. Class happens. It's lunchtime. She knocks something off her desk. Jeff ducks on her desk to pick it up, bonks her head on the desk, knocking more off the desk. She sighs exasperatedly because apparently she's a little bit of a klutz. And then she hears two girls sort of ask her to, basically join her for lunch. They're two of the other major characters. Saori and Hana.
Yep.
So the three of them quickly become good friends. They basically ask her if she wants to eat lunch with her. If she wants to eat lunch with them, she's like, "Oh, thank you, yes," because she doesn't know. She really doesn't know anybody at this point. Because it's like right at the beginning.
And having people do the hard work of actually reaching out is nice.
It's very nice. And Miho's a little bit shy. Okay, she's a lot shy.
Right.
So they get to they go to the cafeteria, they get lunch, they chat a bit. The two of them basically ask why she's transferred to school. She evades the question mostly. They go back to the classroom and the student council shows up. Let me get things set up here. So I've got.
Anzu.
Yes. I'm getting to that. Just yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So the the class president Anzu. Also with her is their PR manager Momo, and Yuzu, basically the vice president, the student vice president. Anzu basically goes, "Oh, hey, okay, looking for Nishizumi," and Miho's like, "Yeah." The council comes up to her, and she's like, "Okay, great. We really want you to come and." She basically tells her that she's going to, because all students have a mandatory elective. Basically, there's an elective sort of club thing, and everyone has to take one. But it's which one you take is up to you, in theory. And basically, so she says, and Anzu tells her that the one she's going to take is Sensha Do. And Miho's like, "What? I didn't think the school had Sensha Do." And Anzu's like, "Nope, we brought it back this year. But the whole reason I came to the school was because they didn't have Sensha Do." Great! See you in club. And Miho has something of a blue screen of death at this moment.
Yeah, she kind of doesn't really react to anything for a while.
Yeah, like it's at the point where she's sitting there sort of staring off into space when the teacher basically calls on her, and she's like, just sits there staring, and I think it's Hana basically says, "Miho," it's one of the two. It's either her, sorry, and Miho sort of stands up and goes, "What?" The teacher's like, "If you're not feeling well, just go to the nurse's office." She goes, "Okay," and sort of staggers out of the room. At which point, Hana and Saori basically, say, "We're not feeling well either," and they go off to find out what the deal is.
You're also leaving,
right? And so they go off to join her at the nurse's office to find out what the deal is. And Miho basically explains that her family is big into Sensha Do, big into it. And she basically, due to things that happened involving it last year, she really, really doesn't like it anymore and was trying to avoid it. And the girl's like, "Oh, okay, fine." And then there's a big assembly where the student council basically does this big presentation on Sensha Do to try to get girls to be interested in doing it again, because they haven't done it in a long time. And
then they drop the bombshell. So you can take these other things, or if anyone taking Sencha Do gets this cookie, that cookie, free class credits, and like lists off a bunch of stuff. It's basically like, yeah, you guys.
It's a free pass to graduation, basically.
Yeah, you guys want to drive around in tanks and blow shit up. Here is your reward for driving around in tanks and blowing shit up.
But and they do the presentation it does a really good job making it seem really cool and awesome. And also, it's all the things about how it's proper training for women, etc. For the girls who are more into proper Japanese roles.
Yes, somehow being a tank commander or tank driver is good practice for being a wife and a mother.
Apparently.
It's all about hauling your drunken husband back out of the bar and then loading him into the shower. Come to think of it, this doesn't sound so bad.
At any rate, So it turns out that Hana and Sayori are both Hana's hears the cannon sounds and is like, that sounds awesome. This is what's clearly going through her head. And Sayori's hearing all the things about it, makes you more attractive to guys and such. She's like, ooh,
yeah,
that'll make me more popular.
Yeah, that's her leading thing. She's always about the cruelties of love and confessing confessing your love for someone and all this sort of shit. Even though she's never actually done that and never had a boyfriend. She's in love with the concept of being in love.
Yes.
Yes, Sayori's kind of adorable in that way, and that she always talks about her being a world weary in love, and always, and their various experiences with 1,000 boyfriends, and they're always but you've never actually dated anyone.
It's always Hannah who says it too.
Yes, Hannah always calls her on her shit.
In that sort of, they're really good friends sort of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the two of them are incredibly excited about it. And, the next day, they're filling out the forms, and they're basically sort of chattering with Miho on the way home from school, about how awesome Sencha Do is going to be. You should really do it with us, etc. And Miho's sort of going, but And they come back to school the next day, and they immediately cuts to their little forms for filling out what club they want to join. Miho's chosen calligraphy.
Right.
And Hana and Sayori starts going, what? And Miho's like, I'm sorry, you guys should, sorry, I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to do Sencha Do.
Just as a hint, she doesn't end up doing calligraphy.
Shocking. But the thing that I love in this bit here is, without a moment's hesitation, Hana and Sayori immediately change their elective to hers, to calligraphy. Because they're like, yeah, we want to. She's like, no, if you guys want to do Sencha Do, go do it, seriously. And they're like, no, we want to be in the same club with you. You're a friend. Which is unbelievably sweet.
Yes.
Absolutely love that. So they're fine with it. Hana's we fairly early on we pick up that Hana does flower arranging is one of her things she just does. It's a big thing for her family. And we don't know much about Sayori's family actually. Sayori knows how to cook. That's about the only thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, someone in your family taught her how to cook. But yeah. So
she's particularly good at cooking, though.
Yes, she's very good at it. And so anyways, they go to lunch, and student council basically says the announcement over the speakers. Miho Nishizumi comes to the student council room, and the other two are like, "We're going with you." And the president's like, "What the fuck? Why is she doing tankery?" Miho's like, "Not interested. I just don't want to do it." And thus begins a scene where basically the president leads it off by saying, if you don't do it, I could make it so you won't be able to come back to the school next year. And there's the other two student council people are just this long running argument between basically Hana and Sayori basically arguing and defending Miho and basically saying, "You guys are way overstepping your bounds. What the fuck? Why are you threatening her? That's bullshit." And they're sitting there, and Miho's sort of standing there, and Miho's sort of freaking out a little bit, but she's like, these two wanted to do Senshido. They changed their minds to be in the same club as me, and now they're risking pissing off the student council to protect me and to She's like, okay, screw it. Fine, I'll do it. I'll do Senshido. Screw it. And like the other her two friends are like, are you sure? She's like, yep, I'll do it. I mean, it takes effort for her to say it, but she does it, and the president looks actively relieved. The president sort of smirking. Momo sort of is Momo, and which we'll explain. And Yuzu looks actively relieved because she was kind of freaking out about like, no, we really need you. It's really, really important.
It's really important that you take Senshido. It's really important that you get in the goddamn tank. Get in the tank, Shinji.
Yeah, kinda. And this leads to them. They walk up to the garage where the tanks are supposedly kept. The doors open. There's one tank. This old beat up.
Hulk.
It's this old beat up Panzer IV with its treads missing. And it's an early one with the shorter barrel. And all the girls are like, that seems disappointing. And Miho immediately walks up to it, sort of looks at it, puts her hand, and she's like, nope, this thing looks like it's in pretty good shape. This will do nicely. It's the first thing where you realize Miho knows her tanks.
Yeah.
Miho really knows her tanks.
Yeah,
the first thing she does is walk up and go, well, the armor's intact. These wheels are good. I think I can work with this.
To the untrained eye, this thing looks like a wreck.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Miho's like, nope, it's in good shape. It just needs to have new tracks put on and, some paint and armor and got to clean out the inside and, we'll need to check the motor, obviously, but,
Yeah.
obviously.
Sandblast it, get the rust off.
And thus begins the show. I wanted to cover that. This is the first episode. I wanted to cover that specifically because it sort of sets the stage for a lot of stuff. And we see a bunch of the other students there who are going to be on the team. They end up having something on the order of around about 20 girls on the team to start with.
1, 2, 3. I think they have 5 teams to start off with.
They have 5 teams, and it averages about to be about 4 per team. I think it's 21 total.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one team has 3 because it's a smaller tank, and there's another.
No, two of the teams have 3. The student council and the history club.
No, the history has 4.
The history's 4.
Do they have 4?
They do.
You're right.
Yep.
4. I forgot about Blinky Girl.
Yep. They're Gunner. At any rate, so yeah, there is. So at any rate, the next episode is basically them going around on the ship to try to find where their other tanks are. Because they had more, they just don't know where they are. They had a lot more at one point. Apparently, Ori had a really good Senshido team ages ago, but when they stopped doing it, they sold off all their good tanks.
Yeah, so basically what they've got left are the stuff that they couldn't sell.
Right. And so thus begins an amusing little episode with the various teams splitting off, going looking for tanks. With a wonderful little scene with our girls going through the parking lot, with Saori basically saying, "Well, why are we saying well, tanks are basically cars. Why would one be in the parking lot?" It's like, I don't think it works that way, Saori. And this is where we are introduced to is it Yuzuru? Yuzuru, I think. Crap, I can't remember her name all of a sudden.
Yukari.
Yukari, that's it. Yes,
yes,
thank you.
Yukari.
We're interested in Yukari, who is as much of is probably more of a tank nerd than Miho, but has never done Senshido before.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the sort of nerd, enthusiast that's never actually
had the
done
opportunity to partake of their obsession.
Right.
meeting someone who has all the knowledge because she's had to learn it because she's done it.
Right.
Right.
Yukari, like we eventually see like inside her bedroom because they all go visit her at one point, and she's got like model tanks everywhere and like magazines on tanks, and
And posters with tanks on them.
Right.
And yeah,
because she loves tanks. Tanks are awesome.
she's not wrong.
Right.
I mean, we find out not too long into it that she can actually identify individual tanks by the sound of their gun.
Yes.
She's obsessive.
Well, we're all obsessive about one thing or another.
Yeah.
Wah.
I'm looking at my shelf right now and I'm saying nothing.
But yeah, basically, Miho sort of sees her sort of lurking behind because Yukari's a little bit like. You get the impression Yukari's actually very intimidated by Miho for a couple of reasons. And we find out
There's no small amount of hero worship there, and not wanting to disappoint her hero.
Right. That's in fact what it is. And Miho sort of looks like notices her, and she's like, "Just come along with us." And they go off looking for tanks, and so the four of them eventually do find a tank in the woods. When Hannah smells oil and grease and metal
And iron.
and like everyone's like, "The hell?" She's like, "I don't know." She's like, "Just," and someone asks,
Yeah, do flower arranging. Good olfactory sense is an important part of the arrangement.
Yeah. So they go diving off and they find a tank. That's where they find the student council's tank, which is
the one that eventually becomes a head.
the 38T. Yeah.
Yeah.
They find a Panzer 38T. It's a Czech tank. They find a tank. They find the M3 in the. Is it the M3 or the Japanese Type 89? I forget.
It doesn't matter. They find
one of the tanks embedded in like a cliffside.
Yeah, which
It's in a cave, in a cliff, and it's the sort of like impossible climb cliff with no way to get there unless your name's fucking Ryu.
Like they have repelling ropes.
someone went on a bender. Is all that I have to say about that.
They find another one of the tanks in a fucking lake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is there a lake on this aircraft carrier? Because shut up. That's why.
Yeah. They actually asked the question. It's like, how did somebody park a tank at the bottom of a lake? How did they get out?
Again, probably the same team on a different bender.
Yeah. And I forget where they find the fifth tank. I think oh no, that's right. They find it. I think
Is that the one that's in the guts of the ship?
No, that's
that's
much later. That's the Tiger.
Right.
They find another one. It's not important. That's not the one that's ludicrous, i.e., the lake or the cliffside one.
Yeah.
That's why we can't remember it.
Just doesn't
It's a
stand out.
perfectly reasonable place to lose a tank, honestly.
If I remember correctly, it is. So, anyways, they end up with a team of the Panzer IV that they found in the garage, the Panzer 38T. God, was it the? I forgot the name of it.
The 89, the Japanese 89B.
The 89B, the M3 Lee, and the. Oh crap! What's the name of the
Tank Destroyer.
the tank destroyer? I forget the name of it.
Oh, the 3 Assault.
The 3 Assault. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stug 3. That's it. Yeah.
Stug, that's it, yeah.
So yeah, they've got it. So they've got they've got like one actually really good German tank. That's not like it's not the Tigers from the late war, but it's a good tank.
Yeah, Panzer IV doesn't suck.
It's a solid tank. They've got the Type 3 Assault, which is a good tank killer, though it doesn't have a turret. They have the 38T, which is not a bad little light sort of scouty tank. They have the M3 Lee, which is not a terrible early war U.S. tank. And then they have the Type 89B,
Which is trash.
which is garbage. It has no firepower, it doesn't have much in the way of armor, and it's technically a medium tank. So it's not even particularly fast. That said, the girls who end up driving it are quite good. So actually get a fair bit of speed out of it. So we should talk a little bit about the teams here. The teams within. So we end up having Anglerfish team, which they end up naming them after animals because Miho ends up the captain of the team.
Yeah.
She doesn't start out that way. Basically, Momo is the captain of the team initially. She's the one who's doing the strategy meeting. And Miho points out a bit of a problem with the strategy at the meeting, and because she's like, they're like, what is it? And she's like, oh, nothing. It's like the president's like, no, tell us. She says, oh, well, this. And Momo starts going, rah, 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 and the president's like, if you have problems with it, why aren't you team captain? And the president's like, that's a really good idea. Miho, you're team captain.
Momo starts mouthing on like, wait, no, I was.
To be fair, the way it goes down, I'm pretty sure it was all set up to make Miho team captain.
But even then, Anzu's just like, this is why we brought her in, right? She knows Senshado.
She knows this shit. Let her know her shit.
There's a wonderful little bit before this scene, because this is the strategy meeting before their first non-tournament match. It's their first actual match, but before that they have a little training sequence, thing where everyone's learning how to drive the tanks, which is hilarious. But before we get to that, I want to talk a bit about the teams. So we have Anglerfish team, which is the Panzer team, which
team
is Miho. It's Miho, Sayori, Hana, Yukari, and eventually Mako, who we'll get to.
Mako is the best character. I'm just going to say that.
Mako is definitively the best character who is not Miho, and I totally agree with Eric. I think she's a more fun character than Miho.
She's 90% snark.
Yes. And
burn units follow her around. It's great.
she is 90% snark and 80% can't stay awake. Yes, I know that adds up to more than 100%. It doesn't matter. It just works.
She is 170%.
Yes.
She is Steinomath.
Yes, she is entirely. Yes. Maho's great. Mako's great. I love Mako.
We forgot the 30% genius as well. So,
oh, yeah. She's also a stone cold genius. Like, literally.
Yeah, she's 200%.
She is literally the smartest girl in school. Like, her test grades...
She's failing all our classes.
She's not failing her classes. She might not advance because she has an absurdly bad attendance... not attendance rate. She misses some class. She's
tardy all the time.
She's tardy all the time, but she has real trouble waking up in the mornings.
She's late all the time. She skips a lot of classes. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, because, she doesn't need to go to class to pass tests because... literally, she can read a book on a subject and understand it completely. This is how she learns how to drive the Panzer.
Yeah.
Literally, so the training exercise happens. Basically, they've got a sort of an adult coach who comes in for this episode.
To be fair, she has, I think, 2 other scenes.
Yes,
over the course she's like a liaison between the Senshado council or whatever else, and she comes in at the start to
tank Fema.
Yeah, to basically just give them a dress down and just see if they're actually capable of.
She gives them a lot of basic tips, and basically she tells them if you ever have any questions, just text me or email me. And I assume that there's contact that we don't see that goes on off screen because
quite possibly
it would make sense. At any rate, so they had their initial training match. So it's the Panzer team, which is before this. It's before Mako joins. So. And basically they're like, okay, we got to pick positions in the tank. The 3 of them all look at Miho like, you're the tank commander. Miho's like, no, I shouldn't be tank commander. And Sayori's like, fine, let's just draw straws. And Sayori ends up as tank commander. With Miho as the loader. Hana's driving, and Yukari's the gunner. So we got that team. We've got Turtle team, which is the student council team. They're in the Panzer 38T. There's the Duck team, which are in the Type 89. They're made up of the remnants of the volleyball club that no longer exists. Their sort of goal is basically they're going to do Senshado to get noticed, so people know that they're there, so they can try to resurrect the volleyball club. That's their motivation. That is all we're going to talk about them, other than the fact that they are, the duck team and they're the volleyball squad. They don't really have a lot of distinct character.
No, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't even know their names.
Their names, everyone's names are mentioned at some point during the show.
Right.
But they are not. They are more. Most of these teams are important as a team and less as individual characters.
Yeah. It's a gestalt kind of deal.
Right. With the turtle team, the student council, they actually are. I want to talk about them in a minute, but I want to get to the teams first.
Right.
There's Hippo team, which is the ones in the Assault 3. They are basically they're the history club. All four of the girls are big history buffs, and they're interested in different types of history. So, and they all have
that's
their
not entirely true. They're all really into military history.
They are
different nations.
Right. Two of them are big into Japanese history, specifically, but
right. But there's one who's really into German history and one who's really into Roman history.
Right. And they all have their own little soul. They have their quote soul names, which is what they call themselves, that are based on actual historical figures. So the one who's into Roman history is Kaiser. The one who's into German military history is Erwin, after Erwin Rommel. Then there are the two Japanese ones. Their gunner, Saizamona, who's refers to some Japanese woman who I don't know, and Oryo, who's Narasaki, is referred to after Narasaki Ryo, who I don't know who that is either. I don't know Japanese history well enough.
No.
Yeah, I barely know.
Right. Okay. Narasaki Ryo was apparently one of the architects of the Meiji Restoration. Kind of important.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
And Sanada Yukimura is... Oh, okay, he's the leading general of the defending side of the Siege of Osaka. Okay. So, important people in Japanese history. But, feudal Japan era. There's Rabbit Team, who have the M3 Lee. They're all first years. Everyone else are second years, basically.
Rabbit Team are from here on known as the Grots.
Eric will refer to them as the Grots. I will refer to them as Rabbit Team. I don't know what Gab will say. Eric is not wrong.
They start off as Grots and evolve into Rabbit Team.
Yeah, basically.
They are forever the Grots. During
the training little skirmish we're referring to here, a shell goes too close to the tank and they all just jump out the hatch and run.
That's not where they jump out of the tank. That's the one where they try to run away, get stuck in the mud, and burn their engine out.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
So at any rate...
Team Grot.
So basically, there's a little exercise where it's basically, okay, all 5 teams go out in the field, go to these starting positions. Okay, now it's every team for themselves. Last tank standing wins. And so a bunch of them basically all decide, okay, we're all going to team up on Miho's team, Miho's tank, because they've got Miho, and we've picked up that Miho knows shit.
Therefore, she clearly needs to go out first.
So,
if any of us are going to have the chance,
right? This goes about as well as you would expect, since nobody knows how to shoot or drive a tank properly at this point. But Hana's doing a decent job driving. And it turns out that once Yukari starts shooting, she's actually very good.
Right.
But at any rate, so basically they end up going over a bridge. Hana's not a great driver, and a shell goes off near them. They sort of slide a bit. The bridge has weird things. Miho gets out of the tank to basically scout out the bridge to make sure, okay, I can direct you, so there's plenty of time. Nothing's going to happen. Something goes off, and the tank slides, and Hana bonks her head and is basically knocked out.
This is after they pick up Mako, who was
napping
in the middle of the game field because fuck that class, it's boring.
She's like, I'm not going to this class. I'm going to go out and read for a while. And she dozed off the book with her book over her face. She hears the tank approaching, and also Miho basically, Mako, get up! And Mako's like, huh? What? Oh. And then vaults up onto the tank.
And spends the rest of it hanging out inside the tank with them.
Right. So, Hana's knocked out, and so they're saying, okay, so, oh god, what are we going to do now? And Miho's like, well, I'm bad at driving, but I'm the only one who has any fucking clue.
And
Mako's like, get her out of there.
Yeah, I can do it.
Those in the manual. Get Hannah out of there. I'm driving.
It's like,
Well, they've already moved Hana.
What do you mean you can drive? She goes,
They've
"I'm
already
just going
moved
out."
Hana.
Right,
Mako
right.
sits down in the seats, picks up the book, as you see her flipping through it, just, okay, puts the tank in gear and starts driving.
And not just driving, like
Driving
recovering-
well.
Yeah, she like pulls a move that recovers it from the slide off the edge of the bridge. And
Right. And so everybody shows up, and so all four of the other teams are there. And the student council team shows up, and they fire, and Momo's the gunner, and she misses.
I don't
Which
think
is-
Momo
becomes
hit
a running
shit during
gag.
the entirety of the series.
This is a running gag. Well, Momo is usually the gunner for the student council tank, and
because the 38, because the tank they've got, was it 38T they've got?
38T.
Yeah, the 38T is so small. Yuzu is the driver, and Momo ends up being, at the start at the very least, the gunner and loader, while Anzu puts his feet up and eats tater chips.
yes,
Yeah.
But when
Chris
things
don't
get
give a shit.
when things get actively serious and they need someone to shoot, Anzu becomes the gunner, and she is the second best shot on the team,
Yeah.
maybe third. You could argue Yukari's the second best shot.
Actively shooting, but yeah.
Well, Yukari,
Second.
I will say, Yukari fires 3 shots in the entirety of the series during combat, and she hits all 3 shots. Now, they're against non-moving targets, and and their tank's not moving either. So these are among the easier shots you can make. That said, this is better than Momo, who cannot hit the broadside of a fucking barn. Leading user to comment, "How could you miss Momo? Shut up!" So we proceed to have Miho basically starts basically taking over, not intentionally taking over as tank commander, because it's combat and it's what she does. This is apparently what she used to do when she was doing Senshudo at her previous school. She was a tank commander. We find out she was more than that later. So basically, she starts calling out targets, and Yukari takes out 3 of the tanks, and then the last one is the first year Rabbit team. They're like, run away, and they get stuck in mud and burn out their treads, wrecking the tank, leaving Miho's team winning. Yay!
Fucking grots.
Yeah. So at this point, Anzu has decided, okay, yep, we got to get a scrimmage in. So she ranges for a scrimmage. And it's against one of the better schools.
Yeah, it's against
St. Gloriana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The British school. A lot of the
let's-
schools have a theme.
All the schools we see that are not Ori are themed. There's St. Gloriana, they're themed after the British. They're British themed. Therefore, all their tanks are British. There is Sanders, who are American themed. All their tanks are American. There's Anzio, who are Italian themed. All their tanks are Italian.
Woe unto them.
We have apparently Anzio fought against the Maginot team, who are French themed. We never see Maginot, but we can only assume. There is Pravda, who are Russian themed. Guess what type of tanks they have?
Yeah.
And
This is not to say that these schools are actually English, Russian, American.
no, they are
Or
Japanese school. They're Japanese students. Almost everyone who goes to schools are Japanese.
They've just
But-
absorbed and embraced the culture that their
Right.
school represents.
Right.
Right. And then there's Kuramine, who are German themed. Therefore, they have German tanks. This is Miho's alma mater. This is where she used to go. This is the school she left. Anyway, so their first match is against the St. Gloriana. And it's a scrimmage. And there are apparently 2 major rule sets for Senshudo matches. There is Total Annihilation, which is last tank standing. And there is, I forget what they name it, but it's basically each team has a flag tank. If you take out the flag tank, you win.
Most of the matches that end up being played are
in the tournament.
The
tournament we end up having everything is kill the captain basically. Take out the flag tank, you win.
Yeah.
So they have their match against St. Gloriana, and before that, they all basically we have this little scene where they actually, so after the match, there's this wonderful little scene where the girls are out at the bath together, and they're all talking about reorganizing, and they basically all say, "Miho, you're the commander. You're just." And Miho's like, "But I can't be commander." It's like, "No, you were the commander. Stop it."
Yeah, you were the commander. Let's be realistic here.
And so Miho's like, "Okay, fine, I'll be commander," and Hana's like, she woke up when the gun fired. Is when she woke up during the fight, and she's like, "That sounded awesome."
Can I shoot giant fuck-off cannons at people? Because I really want to shoot giant fuck-off cannons at people.
And so Miho's like, "Yeah, sure." Miho's like, "Great." And Yukari's like, "I'll be the loader." Great. And so it's like, okay, and Sari's like, "What should I do?" And Miho's like, "You should be the radio operator because you get along with everybody and you communicate really freaking well. We need a driver." "Hey, Mako, you gonna drive for us?" Mako's like, "Nope."
Fuck that noise. I'm gone.
Thus begins their attempts to convince her to join.
It is a great scene where Mako walks out of the bath and heads towards the sauna. She's like, "Hey, Mako, would you like to drive for us?" "No." Shuts the door and disappears into the mist.
You get like 100 free class credits. Reappears out of the mist. Okay.
Now she also says, actually, she's like, "Fine, I owe Miho a favor, so sure." Because Miho basically one day before this, how Miho met Mako was she was walking to school and saw Mako basically struggling to walk because she'd just woken up and was like, "I hate mornings. Oh my god, I hate mornings. Why do mornings exist?"
She is my spirit animal.
But she's all of our spirit animals.
And so Miho basically carries her to school. And so Mako's excuse for this is it's totally not that she wants the credits and such, and specifically the get out of jail free on absenteeism and tardiness bit. That's the bit she really cares about.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with Mako, because her grades are so good. If she got rid of those tardies, that's it. She's done.
She's fine.
She's valedictorian. Done.
Right. So yeah, Mako joins, and now we have we have Anglerfish team, and so they go off shopping, for stuff for the tank, and
these girls do not get tanks.
So they first talk about wanting to paint the tank.
Big awesome looking cushion if I'm riding in a tank.
So the first thing
a nice big awesome looking cushion right above my head because that's where I'm going to be hitting things a lot.
Right. But so the first thing is a couple of them want to repaint the tank, and Yukari's like, "No."
Why would you do that?
The paint scheme on the tank is important. It's camouflage, etc. So Sarah's like, "Okay, can I at least get this cushion to sit on?" And Yukari's like, No, but you don't put those in tanks. And Miho's like, "Actually, that seems like a really good idea." And so they decorate the interior of their tank. And then we cut to so we see the inside of their tank, the little cushions and such, and we cut to outside, where we see what the other 4 teams have done.
The other 4 teams...
Blasphemers.
It's
now,
great.
I will say flatly, the volleyball team are by and far the least offenders.
Yeah, they just
because they've taken their tape out of 9 and painted their volleyball team slogan on the side of it in giant kanji, in white. So it's a green tank with white kanji. That's not a real big problem.
It still breaks up the silhouette to a degree.
Right. Then we have the first years who have painted theirs pink. They painted theirs pink. And the History Club has painted theirs in bright yellow and red, which is not that big a deal. It looks really cool.
It's shining gold.
No, that's not the History Club.
History team. The History team is red and blue
primary
with
red with
waves.
yellow. Yes. Oh, it's they've
They've got the banners on the back.
They put up
Yes.
they put up back like Japanese back banners as flags on the sides of the tank. The paint scheme is, again, it wouldn't be camo, but at least it looks good. And they've got a giant big sort of Roman sigil on the side because their leader is Kaiser, because of course it is. Although she's the loader, their tank commander is
Irwin, because of course.
Right. It's interesting. Their team's sort of organization is interesting because Irwin's their tank commander. She's the commander in battle, but the team captain for that team is Kaiser, which is interesting. She's one who liaises. I thought that was
Kaiser
interesting.
basically handles all the decisions that don't directly revolve around shooting the fuck out of stuff.
Right. Exactly. And then there's the student council team, who have painted their tank mirror shine gold. I am convinced this was used as a Momo's idea. I am convinced.
Bad moons.
And the shot of our heroes standing there, as you see Sayori crestfallen, like, but we could have done something cool with our tank, made it look cute. And Yukari's look of abject horror. Of what have you done to these things? And Miho sits there.
Banners look cool.
And Miho sits there, looks at it, smirks a little bit, and then starts laughing. But she's like, I never thought tanks could be like this. This is neat. This is fun. And this is where we start figuring out Miho's experience, why Miho's had a real problem with Senshido. Because for her, we eventually find out what her school's thing is. And we're not, this is sort of technically spoilery, but not really. So, all right, Miho's family, the Nishizumi family, are basically the leaders of one of the two major sort of schools of thought on Senshido in Japan. The two are Nishizumi and starts with an S.
It's not Shinobi, is it?
No,
No, it doesn't get covered until the movie.
it doesn't get covered in the movie, but it's mentioned offhand during the series. But the Nishizumi school is big and important, and Miho's mom is the leader of the Nishizumi school, and is like basically the coach. Shimada, thank you.
Shimada, that's it.
It's the Shimada school.
Right. And her mom is, as near as we can tell, basically the coach of the Kuramine tank Senshido's team. And the leader of the Senshido team, they're the head of the girls, their overall team captain and commander is her big sister Maho, who's a year ahead of her. And it becomes very clear that, the Nishizumi school is all about, always advance, never retreat, which is fine. Miho's totally down with that. And she's internalized a lot of this. But Senshido is super serious, and the only thing that matters is victory.
Win at all costs, kind of.
Win at all costs. And not to the level of cheating, necessarily, but to the level of whatever sacrifices are necessary, or whatever, winning is what matters. And winning is all that matters. If you don't win, it's pointless.
I know too many people like that.
And this has been drilled into Miho since she was a kid. And so for her, Senshido is not about fun. She doesn't get conceptually, Senshido, the idea of it being fun doesn't register for her. This is why she's taken to avoiding it, is that it became miserable for her.
Right. The whole... While she's internalized it, she's not actually really down with the whole victory needs no excuse, defeat allows none.
Right.
She's basically had all the fun of Senshido just ground out of her.
Yep. And, she's got a real inferiority complex about her own abilities, partially because her sister is brilliant and is better at the Nishizumi style of Senshido than Miho is. And we find out that basically Miho was second in command at the school. She was the second commander. In fact, she was like, she was leading the entire team the previous year in the semifinals when they lost. We find out that basically out of 9 of the last 10 years, Kuramides won the national tournament. Oh dear. And the one time they lost, Miho was in command. Turns out they lost because one of the tanks in their formation, they were driving along a little cliffy thing, lost traction and fell down into a lake. And Miho's like, oh god, my friends are in actual physical danger. And she got out of her tank to go and save them. This led to a disruption in communication, led to her tank being taken out, and them losing because her tank was the flag tank. And this led to a lot of problems at school, and she basically ended up leaving. She's like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I can't handle you guys' craziness. I'm done.
I'm done with Senseido. I'm done with the school. Like, she was going to quit. She was going to simply quit the team, is the impression I got. Yeah. But things were really uncomfortable even beyond that at the school, so she transferred as well. Also, she transferred to school. Sorry, go ahead, Gav.
Well, the thing is, obviously, considering, her family is basically the school.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to just quit the team when you've got that name.
So she transfers to school with no Senseido, but she's done with the sport. And, of course, she got roped back in. So, anyways, their match against St. Gloriana. So they show up with their, with their tanks on their resplendent glory, as it were. And the commander of St. Gloriana is very prim and proper. And she sees the tanks, smiles, and it's like, well, your tanks are unique. Very polite. Her name's Darjeeling because, of course, it is.
Yeah, they're all named after tea for some reason.
Every character we see named from St. Gloriana throughout the series and the movie are named after tea. So, at any rate, Miho has come up with a plan. She's dubbed it Operation Sneaky Sneaks. Miho's not so good at naming the plans.
Well, they get the idea across.
This is true. Her plan names get the idea of what's going to happen across. They're very simple, straightforward names that are actually communicate the actual idea. Her plan involves sneaking around and being even sneakier. So it's like, okay, fine, sneaky sneaks. That makes sense. It's silly, but whatever. So basically, her plan is okay. You four go up on this hill after this canyon. You wait there, dig in, aim down the canyon. I'm going to go annoy go get the attention of St. Gloriana, get them to chase me. I will drive past this point, drive out of the way, and then when they come in here, shoot them. This is our plan. It's a good plan. It's basically Momo's plan. But Miho's basically said, Saunders almost certainly knows we're going to try to do something like this if we do this. So we have to have contingencies for what will happen next, which Momo did not have. Momo is not so much a tactician.
St. Gloriana.
St. Gloriana, sorry. Momo is not so much a tactician or a strategist. As we find out. So they go off, they lure our, St. Gloriana. They lure, Darjeeling and her tanks to chase her. They fly by. As she basically tells them over the radio, okay, we're about to come through. Their tank comes through, and Momo screams, fire! Because Momo's a little hot under the collar. Nothing.
She's highly strung.
Yes. Nothing hits Miho's tank. Nothing hits Miho's tank, but it completely spoils the ambush. Now, I will say, this bit involves one of the bits of tank nerdery that I have under my belt that sort of threw me off a bit, in that a group of 4 Matilda IIs and a Churchill, these are all British tanks, were able to keep pace with a Panzer IV and chase it.
Yeah. Well, I think part of that is just like Mako going, okay, I can't go too fast.
Yeah,
There could be a little bit of that, but they are going at a fair pace.
and I'll just say this flatly: none of those tanks are fast at all. There is no. They keep up with them in the city too, which is no. Matildas are slow.
Yeah, that's the British style of tank from that era. Was we are walking? Well, I say walking, rolling fortresses. We have all the armor. We have none left. We're driving these and jeeps. That's it. There is nothing in between. We have all the armor here. We don't move.
They eventually built the Crusader light tanks, which were much faster.
Yes.
And apparently St. Glorian has them, as we find out in the movie. But I think actually maybe Crusaders are mediums. I forget, but it's unimportant. And this is an unimportant sort of niggle. It's just one of those. That was the first thing I noticed where it's like, that's a little bit off. Whatever, I don't care.
As a side note, if you're sat watching this series with anyone that has, knowledge or an interest or anything like that in military history, yes, things will go over your head very quickly. Because Eric and Peter know their military history and their tanks to a degree. Much more than I do. And I'm like, yes. Smile and wave,
We've got sort of a
boys.
tier system here.
Smile and wave.
Gav's sadly at the bottom of tech knowledge. I'm at the middle. Peter's much better than I am.
I did some research on tanks at one point. At any rate. St. Gloriana, basically dives through the ambush because they know it's there. And they proceed
They've got armor for days.
Right. But they basically sort of, encircle their way up and start bombarding the Ori girls. They're getting in close, and Mio's basically, keep calm, everybody keep calm, we got a plan, just handle things, shoot carefully, calmly. Momo's going, fire everything, don't stop firing! Ah! It's like, oh my god, Momo.
All the DACA! Give them all the DACA! And then the Krauts get out of their tank and run away.
They don't run away immediately. The first thing that happens is that the student council team's tracks are blown off, treads are blown off on one side. Right. Then a bunch of shots start landing near the first years. They bail. They're like, crap, we're done. We can't win at this point. Run away! They bail out of the tank and run away. At this point, things look really bad, and so basically, Kaiser and the history buffs and Miho's team look at her and say, "Okay, boss," and and the volleyball team are like, "Miho, what are your orders?" And Miho's like, "All right, we're falling back to the city." And Momo's like, "What do you mean you're leaving us? No, stay and fight. You've got to stay and fight. That's how things work." And Miho's like, "No,
we are running.
This is a losing situation."
A strategic redeployment.
Yep. So yeah. Hang on a second.
But yeah, and the Krauts run away because the Krauts are useless.
So yeah, they run away. Indeed.
No, Peter, we cannot hear you.
All right, so give me 1 second.
Done Discord.
Yep.
Yeah, Discord went and discorded.
So I have to put out Discord and restart it, so that's not a big deal.
This interval brought to you by Discord. Because it's a piece of shit.
Anyways, there we go. I'm back.
Google Hangouts.
No. It's Discord is. It's not Discord is bad, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not that Discord is bad.
It's the plug on my my MP3. The USB plug that my headset's plugged into is a little bit wonky at the moment.
Okay.
I had to figure out.
So we'll blame Discord then, yeah.
And so when it occasionally gets disconnected briefly, and Discord goes, that headset's gone, so it defaults to something else, and I have to fiddle with stuff to take it back. That's all.
Okay.
It is literally not Discord's fault. At any rate, so yeah, that's. So they run back to the city, and big fight. Basically, they proceed to basically go, okay, we're going to dodge and weave and take advantage of the fact we know the area because this scrimmage is taking place in the Uri proper. And we have a speed and maneuverability advantage. So, yeah.
Yeah, we also learn here that if there's one thing Maho knows,
Miho.
I've lost my names. Miho. Too many Mo's. One thing we learn is that there's one thing she's actually really good at. It's urban warfare.
Yes.
Yeah.
She knows the theory and the tactics of field warfare, but she's really good in urban environments.
Basically, the thing we find out about Miho, of course, across the series, it's not just that she's good at urban combat. She's at her best when things are chaotic.
Yes.
She's really
reactionary
good.
rather than planned.
She's good at planning too, but she's really good at planning out situations to cause chaos. And she's good. And
she's very
And she's
very good at taking advantage of opportunities that present themselves in a shitstorm.
Right. Like, honestly, we almost never get to see her in a situation where she's allowed to have a proper strategy and plan a battle, because every time we see her in a fight, her team is outmatched either in tank quality and always in experience, and usually outnumbered. So the St. Gloriana fight is the one time she's not outnumbered. Well, one of two times that she ends up not being outnumbered. And
they're outnumbered because the Grots really are just Grots at this point.
yes. Well, at this point, yeah, right. So they're outnumbered 5-4, and most of the Gloriana tanks are better than hers, and they are much more experienced than anyone else on her team other than her. So basically, they dodge around the city. The History Club takes advantage of their Assault 3's low profile to hide somewhere and blast a Gloriana tank as it drives by in front of a fence that they're hiding behind, which works brilliantly. The volleyball team does a really slick sort of ambush thing where they basically they hide in a parking lot in this thing that lowers in front of a garage door that they basically open loudly so that the Gloriana team drive and go, aha, you're in there. Why aren't they there? As they pop up behind them and they shoot. And it looks like, yes, they've taken out 2 tanks. No, they've taken out 1 because the Type 89 sucks and can't get through the Churchill's armor.
It's got a fucking pop gun.
Not the Churchill, the Matilda's armor. At which point they get blasted. And
that was such a clever plan, too.
It was a good plan. It was a really good plan. If they'd had a real tank, it'd have been great. And, the History team's driving around, and they're like, ha, we're taking advantage of low profile. Nobody can see us behind these fences, as you see their banners flying above the fences. And Matilda's crew sort of looks at them and goes, blat. So now we're down to Miho against 4 St. Gloriana tanks. And Miho ends up getting kind of cornered. But yay! The student council team's back, and they come driving in because they fixed their tracks. And they're at point-blank range. And Momo shoots. And threads a needle that the odds of her missing were lower if she would have been lower if she closed her eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know how she missed that shot. Literally.
That's some. Have you ever played a tabletop war game like War Machine or 40K, and you've got the shot, and then you roll that 1 or Snake Eyes?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Momo all the time.
She's a really bad gunner. The problem is that the president is lazy.
The president is very lazy.
I mean, so at any rate, this leads to basically Miho the team's arrival, and they get taken out almost immediately. But this has given Miho an opening to escape, and she proceeds to, between her sort of tactical knowledge of knowing when to turn and when to shoot, where she wants to go, Mako's absurd driving skills, and Hana's Jesus Christ, that girl can shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an absolute sniper.
Is what we find out. So yeah, they take out the three Matildas, leaving just Miho and Darjeeling's tanks left. And so Miho's like, okay, got an idea. It's kind of risky. Here's what I want you to do.
Too bad one's a Churchill.
Too bad it was a Churchill. Yeah, if it had been a Matilda, they pulled it off. So she basically drives by and has Miho basically throw her tank into a skid, which is very, very, very hard to do with a tank.
Not impossible, just improbable.
Yes. And they sort of slide around, kind of almost drifting, and get a point-blank shot that doesn't quite penetrate the arm of the Churchill. And the Churchill takes them out.
Yeah.
But, so the fight ends, and Darjeeling comes out and is like, that was a much more interesting fight than anything I've had against your sister. That was really cool. That was really interesting. Congratulations, you guys are really good. And later on, she sends them tea, which is the one Darjeeling apparently only does that for people she considers worthy rivals. Because Darjeeling is actively impressed by Miho, by what Miho pulled off there.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, obviously, this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but you do start to realize that these guys, the team they put together for a team of complete rookies are actually fairly formidable.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just... a lot of it is Miho's leadership, but it's not just that.
Oh, literally, Miho's tank, her entire crew are aces, it turns out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hana is one of the best shots in the show, if not the best shot in the show. Mako is one of the best drivers in the show, if not the best driver in the show.
I think she's the best driver in the show.
What?
I don't think there's any question there. We never see anyone pulling off
in the
kind of
show. Yes, you're correct. There's one tank driver in the movie that I think we can argue. Two, maybe we could argue. But that's in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the show, you're right. Mako is definitely the best driver in the show. Yukari's a really good loader, and Saori is really good on comms. She's actively good.
This is the thing. Yukari and Sayori, their roles aren't as combat critical. Obviously Yukari's is to reload, but she's also got that tactical knowledge of she understands tanks. She knows the weaknesses of whatever they're facing. She knows this, that, and the other about them.
And she's basically Miho's second in command. She's the one who basically she will give it. She comes up with ideas that she's just the Miho. She spots things. She does intelligence.
Yeah.
She gathers information in a hilarious way, which we're getting to in a second. So yeah,
but even then, the other teams grow into themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The history team gets actively good.
Yeah, the history team gets damn good.
And for what
Grots become not Grots.
Yes, and for what the student council team do with that little fucking piece of shit.
I will say flatly.
Yeah.
Yuzu's a really good driver.
Yeah.
And the second Anzu gets on the guns, that tank becomes infinitely more dangerous.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, not hard, but if it goes from, can't hurt a fly to actually kind of scary despite its pop gun.
There's a scene, again, I don't want to get too far ahead, but there is a scene later on against one of the larger teams where the tanks had a bit of an upgrade by that point, where that little shit tank just absolutely terrorizes the entire enemy line.
Yep.
Yes.
And we'll get to that. It's fairly soon. So at any rate, it turns out that they are entered into the tournament, the nationals, and their first match is against Sanders, who are the American team.
The Americans.
They are apparently the wealthiest of all the schools. They have multiple Sensho-Do teams. With different, they've got gajillions of tanks. And so they're saying, okay, how are we going to handle this? And Miho's like, well, it'd be easier to plan if I knew what tanks they were bringing. It's Sanders. I have no fucking clue.
They could bring anything.
If I knew which flag tank they had, which tank was going to be their flag tank, and what their makeup was going to be. They can only have 10 for the opening round, which sucks because we only have 5. But whatever. If I had something, I could come up with a plan. Which gives Yukari an idea.
Right.
So this is where... So Yukari goes off to she sneaks over to Sanders, and disguises herself as a standard student, because they all have school uniforms. And infiltrates with her laptop with the laptop camera, infiltrates their strategy meeting.
We don't find this until the girls go looking for her
Right.
home. We meet her parents and all the rest of it. We see her room and all the tanks and shit. And then she climbs in through the window in a convenience store outfit, and she's like, "Oh, this. Well, this was a disguise because I had to use a convenience store ship to get to the standard school. Wait, to get where? So just watch." I'm sorry I didn't have time to edit it on the way back.
And so she gets to the meeting, and so we are introduced to the Sanders leaders, who are Kay, Naomi, and
Arissa.
Yes.
The
Kay
most
is their
sensible
overall
name.
leader, is their commander.
Yeah.
And so she basically, Yukari asks you, so, okay, what's our formation going to be, and what's our flag tank going to be, and what's going to, so what's defending our flag tank? And Kay's like, it's going to be this, and what's going to defend our flag? So what's defending our flag tank? Nothing. We're going to hide it off on its own. And then Naomi looks at it and goes, "Hey, wait a minute, I don't recognize you." And Arissa's like,
What's your name in class?
"What's your name in class?" I'm second year oddball, third platoon. At which point, Kay dies laughing when she mentions oddball, and Yukari books it
to an old movie called Kelly's Heroes.
Yes,
Which
there's
both Peter and I happen to have seen.
Right. And apparently so is Kay. She's referring to Sergeant Oddball as a character from Kelly's Heroes. And Kay dies laughing, which I love. And Yukari books it out, basically. And so Mio's like, well, that's a big help, assuming they don't change things. And from what I understand about Kay, she probably won't bother.
Yeah, we learn quite quickly about Kay. She doesn't let anything, like, she everything just happens and rolls off her back.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, look, we've got, that was the team we're going to face spying on us. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the plan.
I mean, she didn't get all of their plans, so that's fine. And so they come up and they meet up, so Kay comes up to them. The leadership of the American got before the match, comes up to talk to Mio and such, and invites all of Ori over to their place to come out and hang out for a little bit before the match and eat, because they've got food and shit, and
So much food.
They show up, they're like, wow, they've got restaurant stuff and a hair salon and first aid truck, and goddamn, they have money.
Yes.
And Kay sort of she first approaches she comes up and says hi to Anzu because they know each other, and she looks at her and says, and she sees Yukari's like, "Hey, Sergeant Oddball, you make it okay? Everything's cool? Great, awesome." And Mia's and so Yukari's like, "You're not mad?" It's like, why would it be mad? It's within the rules.
It's within the rules, and it was awesome.
Because, that sort of reconnaissance is actually allowed. It's in the rules for the tournament. So, great. So they have their match, and, Saunders comes rolling out with a fuck ton of Shermans and a Firefly or two. I think it's just one Firefly.
Yes, I believe so.
Now, the Shermans are not the world's best tanks. Let's just get this off the table. A couple of the characters speak up to how amazing they are and how many the Americans made. This is true. The Americans made a gajillion of them, and they sold a gajillion of them because they were cheap and easy to make and really easy to learn how to drive.
Yeah.
One of the characters comes out with something on the lines of, yes, they break down and they're prone to catching fire, but they're really easy to fix and cheap to replace.
They never mention they're prone to catching fire. They never say that.
They never mentioned that the Germans called them Ronsons because they lit up on the first strike.
So I'm thinking of the.
You're thinking of the Porsche Tiger.
Porsche later, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole point is, everyone's playing up how good they are. It's they're really easy to replace and repair. It's that's not a good thing. They keep breaking down.
Yeah, so they're listing all their qualities, and Erica are going, okay, that's actually true. They are really easy maintenance, easy to learn how to drive. The instruction manuals were written for idiots, literally.
Yes.
And, they're reasonably mobile and have a quasi-decent gun, and they built a gajillion of them. Oh, did you mention they're tough? No. They're comfy.
No,
They were comfortable, apparently, too, yes.
They're comfortable because the Americans actually did place a high degree of value on the comfort of their soldiers.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons why we had such great morale in World War II.
Yep. We fed our troops better and made sure they were more comfortable.
As an aside, there's a story I heard recently in North Africa involving Rommel having just taken an American outpost, and they're sitting there going over stuff, and Rommel comes out and walks up to his commanders, and goes, "Do you know what I'm holding in my pie?" And they look at him and goes, "It looks like a pie, sir. It's a Boston cream pie from Boston. This is why we're going to lose the war."
Not that a Boston cream pie is actually a pie, but whatever.
Right.
It is a cake.
Better food than the Germans had.
Oh God, no! Boston cream pie
Yes.
is great, but it is not pie. It is a filled cake. It is much like cheesecake is not actually a cake; it is a pie. It is a custard
Right.
pie.
Yeah.
They are both culinary lies. They're delicious culinary lies, but they're culinary lies.
Culinary lies.
Oh dear.
At any rate, so Miho comes up with a plan. They go to hide in the forest, split up, do some scouting, and do stuff. They send out the first years and the volleyball team to go scouting, because they've designated the T-38 as their flag tank for this match because it's fast and it frees up Miho to not worry about defending herself.
Right.
Miho, most of the time we watch the show, it's weird. There's an interesting mix of teams that use their captain's tank as the flag tank, and sometimes they don't. Miho almost never uses her tank as the flag tank. The only time that she does is actually in the finals. But yeah, so they actually use the T-38 as the flag tank fairly often because it's fast, basically. And it's hard to hit. It's like, none of our tanks are particularly well armored, so yeah, we'll put it on the fastest one we have. It's small, and it's a small target, and it's fast. Screw it. But yeah, they keep getting cut off by Sanders in the woods, left and right. Like Sanders, seems like they know where they are all the time. And they eventually manage to get out of the woods and okay, what's going on? And Yukari's, it's almost like they know where we're gonna be. And Mio goes, hey, wait. Opens the hatch, looks up in the sky, and sees a balloon up there. She's like, oh. She leans out, basically taps Yukari's shoulder, points outside. Yukari goes, wait, they are. She was like, shh, don't say anything. And we cut to we realize during all this that Arissa's sitting off in her tank. She's the flag tank, and she's got a balloon up in the air with an aerial on it to intercept Ori's communications, radio communications, which is basically like Yukari's like, that's got to be against the rules, and they look it up and they're like, well, technically, airplanes are against the rules and all this stuff, but a balloon to intercept transmissions isn't technically against the rules. Aerial interception is supposed to be, but they have nothing specifically excluding balloons. So they're not.
It's very much
cheating.
the rule book doesn't say I can't moment.
Therefore, I can. Yeah.
They're not technically cheating, but oh boy, are they bending the spirit of the rules.
Yes.
I know people like that too.
And Mio comes up with a plan.
I played enough tournaments of various things to know that's exactly what you should be expecting when you go up against someone.
Right, in a tournament setting. So, right, and all this time, basically, she keeps relaying to Kay, the right information, and Kay's like, "How the hell are you figuring this shit out?" Women's intuition. And she's like, yeah, I've got a good hunch." Right, whatever. I'll take it. You're actually being clever. Fine. And so. All of a sudden,
Kay's doing the whole, something's up, but I don't care right now because it has been specifically pointed out to me. Otherwise, I'd have to take action.
Right. And she's also assuming that that Arissa's not really breaking the rules too badly. Like, she might be bending something slightly, but, nothing too significant. And so like she starts picking up on Miho communicating again, sending out these orders that they're going to be going to this area. They're going to basically make a desperate push over here. So Arissa's like, okay, send everybody over there. It'll be great. And Kay gets over there, and with all the rest of the tanks other than Arissa, and she's like, there's nobody here. And Arissa's like, the fuck? At which point, the Duck Team, aka the volleyball squad, comes rolling up in their Type 89. Look at Arissa's tank. Arissa looks back. Captain of the volleyball team sort of knocks on her tank and says, let's go now.
We should
Whoosh.
go.
And Arissa's like, oh fuck, they found me. And goes chasing after them because the Type 89 can't take a Sherman. Because the Type 89 sucks.
Yeah. The tank. Let that sink in. The Type 89 can't take a Sherman.
The Sherman's better than a bunch of tanks that show up. It's just that it's, not great. It's merely not great. A Sherman could probably take a Type 38 on a T-38 probably. It would outgun one badly.
Yeah, it would outgun one, yeah.
It would have trouble with a properly geared up Panzer IV. But at any rate, irrelevant. So they go chasing after the volleyball squad, who keep tossing smoke bombs behind them, and annoying them. And we find out that Miho's base said, okay, well, we get a bit of fridge brilliance, actually. Because when Miho basically suggested that Saori be run communications, Saori's like, that's great, I'm really good at text, I'm really fast at texting. And Miho's like, that's not what I mean, you're going to be running the radio. But Miho remembered that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if they're spying on our radio, nothing in the rule says we can't communicate using our cell phones.
Yep, doesn't say I can't.
You're going to do that, and we're going to do this.
Hikari, start texting everybody. We've all got our cell phones with us. Text my orders. And so, there's another beautiful bit before they actually stumble on her. Actually, there's another bit where basically they're fed false info again, and a couple of their tanks go driving up into this beautifully hidden ambush where they look over, they see the Assault 3's barrel. It's like they're actually just
Shit! Boom!
it's literally Jesus.
Yeah.
Boom! Dead Sherman.
The Assault 3 has repeatedly throughout this show pulled off fucking absolutely phenomenal ambushes.
Yes.
The number of times somebody comes around the corner and it's just like, hi.
But
See,
see, Assault 3 has at this
At
point
present.
has their biggest gun,
Yes.
Yeah.
and it
tank destroyer.
may not have a turret, but it's low profile, so it's easy to hide for a tank. And I have to say, the history buffs are really good at finding spots to hide.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are really good at it.
It's almost like they understand the military tactics themselves.
Yep.
Yes.
After studying them for fun.
Yep. Yeah, they're war gamers. We actually see it a couple of times. Actually, there's a scene in the movie
Yeah.
where I actually caught them. I was able to identify what war game they were playing.
Which is
Wasn't
pretty
like
awesome.
a-
'cause
They were playing Advanced Squad Leader. I recognized it immediately. Like, dear God, these girls are playing ASL. Really? Damn. I don't play that game. It's too complicated.
If the game is too complicated, it's too fucking complicated.
It's a game I find too complicated, and I like complicated games. ASL is too nitpicky for me, and I play Starfleet Battles.
Yeah. Yeah, let that sink in.
At any rate, so yeah, that seems wonderful. But at any rate, so Arisa comes driving up and then realizes that she's driving into ambush and runs away. And so Kay's sitting there in the field with nobody around. She's like, okay, Arisa, where are they? What's going on? Arisa's like, can't talk right now, kind of in trouble. What do you mean? Well, I'm being chased by their entire team. What? I think they may have figured I was intercepting their communications. You were what?
Listen, stop yelling at me. I'm being chased by a team. My boyfriend broke up with me, and the gun's stuck, and they won't shoot the machine gun, and it's a great rant.
She has a couple of great rants. But yeah, like, literally, Kay's reaction is like, if she accidentally mentions she was intercepting their communications, Kay's like, you were what? And Arissa's like, oh, crap, I wasn't supposed to tell her. Shit. Kay's gonna be pissed. Kay's pissed. I don't want to piss off Kay. Sorry, ma'am.
Piss off Kay. Kay's adorable.
But she's clearly, she has her troops' respect.
Yes.
And they don't like her being upset and like disappointing her. It's very, very clear. And Kay's like, all right, well, fuck. Technically speaking, we're not cheating, but that's really unsportsmanlike. I know where they are now, though. All right, you four, I'm just gonna bring 4 of us to go after them. You 5 stay behind. We're gonna make it an even 5-on-5 fight because Kay is into sportsmanship.
Yes.
And so they go chasing after it. And then we have this wonderful little tank battle, running tank battle where everybody's shooting each other. And basically, nobody's hitting because shooting on the move is really fucking hard.
Right.
But
tanks are not known for their good suspension.
especially World War II tanks. Like, modern tanks can shoot on the move fairly well. World War II tanks, not so much.
There is some nice little bits they include, though, in this fight especially. Just showing how much these girls have started to learn because, again, they're still protecting their flag, so it's all 5 of them are basically running in a formation, trying to catch the American flag tank.
Right.
With the T-38 in the middle.
Right.
Protecting. And as soon as the American chasers come along, the 2 heavier, slower tanks drop to the back.
Right, to flank the,
to protect the T-38. And as it's going, they start losing tanks. One gets hit. So automatically, without saying anything, their formation changes to protect the T-38.
Right.
2 or 3 times it does this. It's like, okay, well done.
Yep. And so, like, it looks like they're in trouble because, the first one that takes out a tank is literally the Firefly stops, lines up a shot, and nails something at range because Naomi's a good shot. She's the one in the Firefly.
Yeah.
And the Firefly is the big gun that they've got with long range. Slower to reload. Somewhat slow reload times, though. And so we have a chase battle, and eventually, like, Mio's like, everyone's like, we're doomed, we can't possibly win. Mio's like, look, guys, if we give up, we lose. We can only win if we don't give up. And they're all like, you're right. If we don't there's no way we can win if we give up, so we got to keep trying. And Hannah basically goes, Mio, I think I can get a clean shot at them if you get me up on the hill. If we go up on the hill there, Mio's like, it's exposed, but that's our best shot. Do it. Okay, everybody else, defend the flag tank from the people back there. Keep their flag tank honest. We're going for an elevated shot. And Naomi and the Firefly goes chasing after them. And Mio basically correctly calls it time to stop the tank so that it doesn't get hit. And basically, like, Mio's like, okay, well, I think we can get you time for a couple of shots. And Hana's like, I need 1 shot. That's it.
1 shot,
1 kill. That's what she says that.
Yeah, because Sayori's like, no, it's just like with love. You just keep shooting until you hit your target. And Hannah's like, no, 1 shot, 1 kill.
And so basically, we've got time before the Firefly reloads because it's a slow reload. And, basically they take their time to line up the shot, they fire, the Firefly fires almost simultaneously. The Firefly takes them out, but they get the flag tank and win. And thus they beat Sanders.
Yes.
We get a bunch of stuff where they basically go chasing after other tanks. They find some more tanks. I'm not going to go into too much detail. We shouldn't go into too much detail on this stuff. But, like, I don't want to fully recap all the battles either, because honestly,
Right.
No.
like, this is the sort of thing that happens fairly regularly. Is
there's regularly like Miho shit. Things go to shit. Miho sees an opportunity in the crisis, takes it despite what risks may involve, because the alternative is just losing. It pans out.
Right. Their second match is against Anzio, the Italian team. This doesn't happen in the series proper. This happens in an OVA.
Yes.
It is if you can track down the OVA, it mentions Anzio in the title. We can look it up, the title of it later. We watched it before that for this.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's very funny. Anzio are hilarious, very Italian.
Everyone's very much plays up the stereotypes
Yes.
of their theme country.
Like the Italians, girls can't focus for more than 10 seconds without food coming into the conversation.
Yep. And I'm obsessed with various types of pasta.
Yes.
And their leader is a complete and utter demagogue, but a sweetheart in the end.
Yeah, she's actually a complete sweetheart. And you know, they have their tanks they don't have much in the way of like real tanks. They've got a bunch of fixed turret
buggies. They've got go-karts with guns on them.
they've got the Semivantes, which are fixed turret light tanks, basically. And then they've got the what are they called again? It starts with a C.
Did they end up calling it like the pew pew pew?
No, the PPP is the P40.
P90.
The P90. Yeah,
P40. P90, sorry.
Caro Veloce, that's what it is.
Caro Veloce. They have those in Semaventes.
Yeah, they got the Semaventes and Caro Veloces, and it's P40. You were right, Gav.
Yeah.
The P40 is like an actual tank.
Yes.
The Semaventes are, you know, fixed turret sort of, you know, tanks with like an almost decent gun. But they're fast and maneuverable. And the Caro Veloces don't actually have cannons per se.
It's a go-kart.
With heavy machine guns, basically.
Yeah.
But they're fast and light. So their team is made up of a bunch of these fast little tankettes, what they get called at some point.
Yeah.
The Semaventes and one actual tank, which they've been saving up for, because Anzio is actually kind of not that well off school monetarily. They're sort of in a similar boat to Ori, actually.
The difference is Anzio spends all the money they get on food.
Yes, they are big.
They love their food.
And the impression you get is they've got like a big culinary academy, probably.
Yeah.
And the battle with him is hilarious because their leader, Anchovy, comes up with an actual plan that they execute poorly.
Yes.
Because none of the girls pay attention to the plan.
Right. Like, there's sometimes she calls out, like, okay, we're switching to Plan F. Great, Plan F. Which was Plan F? I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's go. Whee!
Let's go break shit.
It's like, I mean, without spoiling it, but just to outline it, their initial plan, Plan A, well, actually, it is going to spoil it, sorry, but, you know, Plan A is basically to put out, like, wooden standees of their tanks. So that through trees and through, you know, foliage and all the rest of it, it looks like that's where they are, to try and fool everyone. But the problem is, they put out too many.
Yep.
Right.
That they bring that many in the first place is ridiculous, but yeah,
well, they were bringing extras so they could do it multiple times.
Yes, but they put them all out in like too close together, so the other team quickly figure out that, well, actually, if there's that many there and that many there, and I can see those there,
like literally,
tanks.
Like they're reporting the spotting, and the Mio is okay. How many do you see there? How many do you see there? That's 11. They're only allowed 10 tanks in this round.
Are they cheating?
They're decoys.
No.
They're decoys. Take a shot at one of them. They're wooden decoys. Yep, that's what I thought. Yeah, all right, they're ready to ambush you somewhere.
Like, I told you don't to put them all out.
Oh well.
Yeah.
And there's a wonderful little bit of sort of back, like Kaiser gets a little bit of backstory with an old friend of hers that goes to Anzio and fun stuff.
Yep.
It's a fun little episode, fun little OVA. It's about 40 minutes. Because it works out to be about as long as most of the battles, because most of them are 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The next battle in the series is up against Pravda, the Russian team, the team that won the previous year. And Pravda's in the semifinals, you're allowed to bring 20 tanks, 15 tanks, sorry. And Orai's found another tank, so they're up to 6 tanks now. Actually, they found 2, but they haven't gotten the other one. They found a Char B1 and a Beast and a Porsche Tiger, which is a prototype.
Right.
It's the early prototype of the incredibly successful Tiger series that the Germans
Right.
made. It's the prototype, which had a big gun, lots of armor, and a dual diesel-electric motor system. So it had both a diesel and an electric motor. It has some issues.
If they'd have found a Tiger, that would have been easily their best tank.
Oh, easily.
They found a prototype of the Tiger.
Which is
They sold
still...
all the good ones.
Duani in the chat asked, no M1 Abrams. No, it's all World War II tanks.
It's all World War II.
The
tanks.
rules of Senshado are tanks from World War II. I guess, and technically earlier if you insist, but don't do that.
I want to see a team that does nothing but like gobs and gobs of World War I tanks.
They would lose badly.
Yes.
It would be hilarious.
Yes.
Come on, you could have the big cone one that's just festooned with machine guns.
So yeah.
Is it?
So we're introduced to Pravda. We're introduced to Pravda when to Pravda's leader Katyusha when Darjeeling goes to meet her because she wants to talk with Katyusha, and like she lets her know that Orai, the team that we're going to go up against, actually, their commander is actually went to is an Ishizumi, and she's like, really, an Ishizumi? Holy crap! How did I not know that? It's the younger sister. Oh, well, I'm not worried then. And Darjeeling's like, really, not worried, huh? This will be interesting.
I beat her last time. What is there to worry about? That's the whole reasoning.
Yes,
behind
that's Katyusha. Katyusha is this tiny little girl.
Yeah.
She's very short.
What she lacks in stature, she makes up for in ego.
Oh God, yes.
She's got quite the Napoleon complex.
She is convinced she is a genius, and a strategic tactical genius, and she is the best leader out there. She is not far off. Because we see during their battle that she's set up a really good series of traps and plans and encirclements. She's actually a really good commander.
Her biggest problem is she... You caught me monologuing.
Yes.
Yes.
She has a bit of a supervillain complex, despite actually being at heart a sweet girl. And her lieutenant Nona, who is devoted as all hell to her.
Yes.
And sort of looks at her like a little sister, basically. Katyusha takes when she runs into people who are taller than she is, which is almost everybody. Which is during the series, literally everybody. Goes and rides on Nona's shoulders, and Nona's very tall.
That way she gets to look down on people as opposed to the other way around, because screw you!
Because she comes up to meet, to shake hands with Anzu, the class president. And she realized that Anzu, who is tiny, is actually taller than her. She's like, Nona, whoop, ha-ha, see, I'm taller than you. Everyone's beneath me. So, Miho's come up with a plan. It's like, okay, they outnumber us badly, and I know that they're into, like, throwing feints up and, like, retreating away, like, throwing up some tanks up as sacrifices and running away, luring people into traps. And they'll definitely do that because they outnumber us badly, and it's snowing a lot, so they're almost certainly better dealing with the cold weather than we are. Okay, here's my plan. We're going to be going slowly, cautiously. We're going to do this. No, we should totally charge. We've won 2 matches in a row. We're awesome. All right. Okay, so you guys all want to go in offensively. Well, okay, honestly, given the weather and given the tonnage disparity, honestly, a direct attack is not a terrible idea. But just don't get too over engaged.
Right.
They get
let's
over
get
engaged.
Well,
Yeah,
again,
they've got a little bit of confidence from the last win, and
they've won 2 in a row now.
Yeah.
And so they basically take out several of the Russian tanks. And they're like, yeah, we're on a roll. We can totally do this. Let's go chase after them. Yes, we see their flight. Let's go. Mio's like, wait, guys, no, slow down. We got to do this slowly and carefully. And oh boy. And it turns out it was in fact a trap.
History team, would you like to please educate us on how the Russians like to fight?
The way that Miho actually told everyone that they were going to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh well. So Miho's like, oh crap, they're encircling us. All right, dive into that church over there. So they drive into this church, and like the church starts getting shelled, and it stops. And Pravda, Katyusha sends out some people under a flag of truce, and basically says, okay, here's the offer: surrender now. We'll let you. We can just end the fight here. Everything's cool. You guys, there's no risk of anybody getting hurt. No, no excess damage to your tanks. We'll just end the match here. Because you guys are dead. You're dead. We'll give you 3 hours to decide. And Miho's like, yeah, we should surrender now. That way nobody gets hurt. We've done remarkably well for a team that's never done this before. And you're like, I'm really looking forward to doing this again next year with you guys. At which point Momo's like, we can't. No, we can't surrender. We have no choice but victory. She keeps saying this over and over and over again.
Right.
And it turns out she lets it slip finally that the reason they refounded the Senshido team is the school was going to be closed down. Because it's an older school with no notable programs. And it's like, ages ago, yeah, they were Senshido champions, that mattered, but like, you guys haven't done that for ages. You didn't have a Senshido team. It's like, and Anzu's like, wait, if we refound the Senshido team and win the tournament, you won't close us down. You can't close us down then, right? And the dude's like, well,
I guess.
So that's why they do it. They've got to win the tournament in order for the school not to be shut down. And Mio's like,
it's a political shitstorm to do so. So they won't, because it's a political shitstorm.
And Mio's like, okay, fine, yeah, sure, great, we won't surrender then. And Mio's like, yeah, like they're gonna shut the school down. Like Mio's like, I don't want that to happen. I'm like, all my friends.
I'm actually enjoying my time at school. This has never happened before.
Well, not only in time at school, but enjoying Senshido as well.
Yeah.
But it's like she's got like friends again that she hasn't had for a while, like, and she doesn't want to be split up from them. And like she's like, okay, fine. This also turns out it's the first match her mom's come to. Her sister's been at all her matches. And her mom's come specifically to basically, if Mio basically disinherit her, basically. Because Mio's, she's like, she quit Senshido, which is bad enough, but now she's started up again with this crap team and like is not fighting, properly for Nishizumi. She's embarrassing the Nishizumi name.
Right. How dare she perform these unorthodox tactics using such an unworthy group of players for all intents and purposes.
Right. She's an Ishizumi. She should be with the elites, not these losers. Basically, that's Shiho, her mother's attitude.
Yeah.
Maho is very studiously quiet during all this monologuing.
Yeah.
Like she says, when she like no, I'm going to carry on her name. It's not a big deal. You get it's like she doesn't quite say it, but she very much implies like, Mom, you don't have to worry about Miho or anything. I'm going to be carrying on the name. Just let Miho be Miho.
Right.
But yeah, so Miho's mom basically is gone, and the implication that basically Miho loses, she's disinherited. But like, it's pretty clear that Maho's basically.
But yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't outright. Nothing else. But she says flat out she's going to disinherit. Her initial plan is to go there and disinherit Miho, and Maho basically talks her down somewhat. At any rate, yeah. So Miho basically said, "Okay, we got 3 hours. Okay, we'll send out some. Okay, you two groups go out, scout, find out as much as you can about where their tanks are. And so they do. They spot all of Ravna's tanks. Miho comes up with a plan, and they enact it. And they basically bust out, and like Katusha set this thing up in a trap. She's left an intentionally weak point in her line, specifically to lure, the Uri tanks out that way, so they can encircle and kill them. Miho takes their tanks and dives at the hardest part of the Russian lines, and just drives right by it. And Katusha's like, "What the hell?
Who does that?"
Miho's like, "Okay, this is gonna
Especially
be."
considering the people at the hardest part of the lines. We're not expecting to actually have to fight.
Well, it's the hardest part of a line, but like, it's a case of
They weren't prepared.
They weren't ready for them to come right at them. And B, they kind of forgot that all of Uri's tanks are at least reasonably fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go blitzing through, and they go. Oh, and Kyushu's like, "Fuck! Chase them! Go! 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 Go!"
Run them down.
And so they start going, and then phase 2 of Miho's plan comes up when the student council tank's like, "Okay, right, we'll tie them up as long as we can. You guys run. You guys break off and go to where you're going." And so we now get to see Anzu take over the gunnery. As the T-38 proceeds to dive and dance through the Russian tanks, shooting tracks off of multiple tanks, and taking out 2 entirely.
Yep.
Yeah, they realize they're going to struggle to punch through heavy armor, but those tanks, those treads are nice and exposed.
And they can get through the heavy armor if they're really close.
Yeah. And there are a couple times that they just drive right up and put the barrel right up to their gas tank.
It's just like, blam, thud, run away.
And it's time to go.
At which point, Miho basically says, "Okay, we know roughly where their flag tank is from the scouting, where it has to be from the scouting. Okay, so the Assault 3 and my tank, we're gonna basically pull off the side in the snow drifts, out of line of sight, and wait for them to drive past. They'll chase you guys. All right, you two defend the flag tank. You two defend the flag tank. Do your best. Buy us time." And so they go all the Russian forces go chasing after them. And Miho and the history team go driving off to engage in this and catch the flag tank, and they find them, and the flag tank's like, "Commander, they found us," and Katusha's like, "What? What? Can you send some people back to us?" "No, you look. What are they? They said, look, just lure them in front of your trusty comrade. It'll be fine, because she's left the KV-2 behind."
Yep.
Now the KV-2 is a somewhat odd duck of a Russian tank. It's not very fast, it's not very maneuverable, but it is very well armored and has a giant fuck-off gun.
It has a giant fuck you cannon.
So
It's kind of a neat-looking tank. It's just, not good.
it's got issues. As a one-of in your force, it's not a bad idea, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got other stuff to cover for it.
Right, exactly. They got a bunch of T-38s, Russian T-38s, which are actively good tanks.
Yes.
And they've got an IS-2 also, which is known as tank. And but at any rate, so they basically spend time chasing, them through the area. They run into the KV-2 and dodge the shot, and they're like, "Well, that's gonna take forever to reload." Blat, take it out. They're like, "Yeah, there's a flaw with the KV-2. It really can't move." And it takes forever to reload that gun. Katusha likes the KV-2 because it's tall.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at any rate, they basically spend some time, the flag tank's running through the city, the village that it's hiding in, the flag tank's running through the city, just dodging them. And Neo's like, okay, got it. Okay, you guys, history team, Assault 3, stop here, bury yourself in snow. We'll chase them into you.
They realize that the flag tank is basically just running in a circle around the
Right,
town.
Right. It's
Trying to
basically
use the
buying them
buildings
time
as
buying time for the rest of the team to show
Because
up.
as what's going on, Nona is taking out one tank out after another. That's she takes out one at long. She's taking it on the move. Nona's shooting down the Uri tanks that are guarding their flag tank. And she gets the two that are there, leaving just the duck team in their Type 89. And Lordy, they do some fancy driving.
Yeah.
These explosions keep going off around them. They keep dodging. Like end up like on their nose, barely like holding on, then landing and driving. And the match ends with basically, the the Russian flag tank driving right up to in front of the Assault 3 buried in snow, which just blats it at point blank. Yep. Just as Nona shoots at the duck team, and almost gets them. She doesn't quite take them out. They're able to limp along with one track still left. Basically, fully functional and moving. They are not immobilized, so they're not out.
Right.
And thus they beat Pravda. And,
From a pretty unwinnable situation.
right.
Yeah.
And so Miho's mom is like, well, that was just that's like, she is unimpressed. And Maho's like, no, Mom, that took serious skill what Miho pulled off there. And she's like,
Yeah.
She doesn't want to admit it, but yeah.
Because it was not a Nishizumi style fight.
No, not at all.
But like, there's part of it that's like, yeah, I can't not admit that Miho's actually doing well. God.
And one of the things that I enjoy about this show as well is that this isn't like at no point does anyone pull something magical out of their ass.
Yep.
It's all tactically thought out moves.
Yep.
With earned results.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no Deus Ex Machina.
There's no like miracle shot over a fucking hill and hopefully it lands.
Right.
Yeah,
no.
there are a few desperate gambits that happen to play out, but that's because they set them up in the first place.
Right. They make their own luck a lot of the time.
Yes.
There are sometimes where you'd say you could argue they got lucky, but they would not have been in that position if they hadn't set it up.
Right.
And, they make their own luck. Miho does this all the fucking time. Anyway, so we get to the final match, which is against Kurumine, unsurprising. And it's Miho versus her sister Maho.
Right.
I'm going to say this now. I don't want to spoil how this fight goes.
No.
It's actually a pretty damn good fight.
It's the best fight in the series.
Yes. Absolutely.
And this is the first fight where they are able to bring the Porsche Tiger. They've found yet another tank, so they've got like 8 tanks now. Kurumine has 20.
They also found an upgraded barrel for the 4.
Right, they had that the previous match.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, they had.
This is also where they get the Hetzer upgrade for the.
They upgrade
Yeah.
the T-38 into a Hetzer, which is not technically possible, but whatever, close enough.
Yeah, they basically just dropped the Hetzer shell over the top of the T-38.
Well,
Yeah, they basically saw the damn thing in half and put a whole new hull in the damn thing.
Yeah, well, the Hetzer is a mod kit for some. Was a mod kit for some tank chassis. The T-38's not actually one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you had that fucking genius automotive team. They could figure it out.
Yeah, the automotive team are fucking geniuses. We see them. They're the ones who end up driving the Porsche Tiger because they need it on there. Because that thing is a giant walking nightmare of maintenance.
To the point where it starts to break down mid-match, but luckily it's just the electric, so one of them climbs onto the back and fixes it while it's driving.
Yeah, like the back of the tank starts smoking, and one of them gets out and starts working with stuff on, working with tools on the back of it, and that seems like bullshit at first until you rewatch and realize you hear the electrical shorting out.
Yeah.
And you see sparks, and you realize, oh god, they were really clever. That's just the electric motor going down, so she actually can fix that while it's on the move.
So they avoided it catching on fire.
Right, because it kind of did that during when they first showed it off back at school.
There's a great bit. It's like, wow, the Porsche Tiger. It's got a lot of armor and a great gun. Sort of has a trouble. It's just really heavy. You see it going and starts wallowing in the mud. And the electricals tend to short out. You hear sparks flying out, and it catches on fire, and it catches on fire.
Like one of the other girls, like, that's not really a tank, is it? Your car's like, shut up, it's great.
But yeah,
That's where Ricardo said, "Shut up! The gun's really good." And it is.
I do.
It's their best. It's their heaviest. It's their heaviest hitter they've got now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do, like I say, from this point onwards, the Hetzer becomes my favorite tank.
I don't blame you because it's fucking hilarious, and I don't want to spoil the Hetzer too much.
All I'm gonna say, Hetzer gonna Hetz.
Yes. The number of sneak attack ambushes that it pulls off is just fucking hilarious. It trolls the living fuck out of Kuramine.
Yes.
Oh my god, it trolls the living fuck out of them.
I'm not gonna lie. If I had to pick a favorite tank, it's probably the mouse that shows up.
Yes.
Because there's something that appeals to me about giant fuck you, I have too much armor.
Yes. And the way they deal with the mouse is hilarious.
Yes.
Yes.
The way it goes down is beautiful. We won't
So
spoil it. It's
the
beautiful.
important notes I want to talk about this battle, because I don't want to. I'm not spoiling the battle. First off, these last two episodes are framed and shot beautifully.
Yes.
Yes.
It is gorgeous. It is some of the best battle sequences I've seen in any anime, and I mean like just from a combat sequences, like vehicular combat.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is, and the tactics are solid and smart, and it's this wonderful interplay of Miho coming up with a plan, Maho going, "I know what you're up to, sis."
Yeah. There's a lot of, I have a cunning plan. Yes, but I've seen through your cunning plan. Maybe seen through me seeing through my cunning plan.
and so there's a lot of stuff. There's one moment I have to talk about, which is there's basically at the beginning of the match, like they do their sort of their sort of their greetings, and one of the members of Miho's of the tank that Miho the tanker that Miho saved that cost them the match last year comes up to her and thanks her for saving and is so happy that Miho didn't quit Senshido.
Mm.
And it's a wonderful little moment for Miho. And Yukari's like, "See, I told you that the people you saved were glad, and I told you it was the right thing to do." And Miho's like, "I don't know if it was the right or the wrong thing to do, but it was the only thing I could do and still be me."
Right.
And as they're going along, they have to drive across a river, and they set up beautifully with the heavier tanks upstream to shield the lighter tanks. But Rabbit Team's M3 Lee,
the fucking grots again.
the engine gets flooded, and it stalls.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really their fault, but it's the fucking grots.
Right. And so Miho basically decides to go save them. She's sort of waffling, like, okay, the obvious answer here is to leave them behind. And, they're saying, leave us behind, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But Miho's like, I can't do it.
That's the Nishizumi way.
It's definitely the
Not-
Nishizumi
right.
way. It's like Miho's, and, everyone in their team, everyone on her crew, all her friends look at her and go, Miho, we know you want to go save them. Do it. It's you. And Miho goes off and runs a cable out to them with a series of somewhat improbable long jumps from tank to tank.
Standing long jumps like that.
Yeah. But it's a wonderful moving sequence. And she brings the cable over there and they tow it out. The reason I mention this is because it is very unlikely that they would have won without Rabbit Team.
Yeah, the grots do pull off some pretty impressive stuff.
The Rabbit Team basically...
After this sequence.
I'm not going to tell you how they do it, but Rabbit Team is directly responsible for eliminating the two heavy tank killers that Kuramine has with them remaining up that point. They take out the elephant and the other last remaining Jagdtiger, which are both basically like the Type 3 but late war versions. By the way, Kuramine is all German tanks and they're all late war German tanks. So they don't have any Panzer IVs or their lightest tanks are like a Lang, which is like a big Hetzer, and their Tigers.
Yeah.
They
Their
bring
Tigers
a
are
fucking
their
mouse,
light
as Eric points out.
The mouse
Yeah.
is fucking awesome.
Oh, they bring like a Type 3 Tiger, and which is like one of their lighter ones. It's like I think they might have some Panzers in there. I'm not positive, but Jesus.
Yeah, the fucking mouse is just unfair. It's this huge fucking battleship of a tank that what was it? It was basically a prototype that they built one and then thought, no, this is not going to work.
It never saw the field of battle.
It never saw the field of battle. It was when we say late war, we mean 1945. The Allies are on Germany's doorstep.
Yeah.
It was
But it's
one
like-
of the Germans' like lunatic super weapon ideas.
But it comes around the corner, fires a shot, and one of the smaller tanks is like, "Oh my God, we're hit!" No, that was just the shell passing us.
Well, the shell detonated near them. It's like it knocked. It was the student council tank.
Yeah,
Right, the Hetzer.
So, but it leads to it. Basically, it's the unsurprisingly, Miho eventually gets them into urban combat, which
yes.
the best part about this is that Maho knows Miho's going to do this, which is why she's left the mouse in the city.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there waiting for her.
Well, there's no way the mouse is going to catch up to them.
Right,
It's a
there's
mouse.
no way. It's too slow. And if it drives around too long, it'll run out of fuel because the mouse drinks fuel.
Or it'll throw a track because the damn thing weighed several metric fuck tons.
Right,
Which, as we all know, are 3 times as much as a normal fuck ton.
right. So, basically, everything hinges down to Miho basically splitting up Kuromini as much as they can in the town to lure her sister, who's in so the 2 flag tanks, into a one-on-one duel in the schoolyard that they block off with the Porsche Tiger. And it's an amazing tank duel, which Miho unsurprisingly ends up winning.
Yes.
Barely.
As well they had to.
One
And-
thing with this show that they do really well, and they save it for for the tanks. There's it looks a bit sketchy to start off with in like the first episode, but it soon catches up. Is the blending of the like the 3D digital animation for the tanks?
With
Yes.
the normal sort of cell style, normal
Yeah,
hand-drawn
it
animation.
really
for the
stands out in the first episode. It's kind
Yeah.
of jarring. But
But
it's
even in
not
the
long
same
to get
shot,
their shit
it'll be
together.
it's a CGI tank with the cel-shaded anime girl sticking out the top.
Right.
But it actively works in the final episode.
Mm.
Yeah, they
and-
get that shit. They get it squared fairly quickly. It's just
Yeah.
the first episode where things look dodgy.
Right.
Well, I think what does it is that because it's during the duel, the cameras are fast moving, the action's fast. It's a bit shaky cam. Whereas in the first episode,
There's
it's like,
steady
look
panning
what we
shots.
can do. It's still panning, slow panning shots. It's like, look what we can do, and like we're looking, it's not great, guys.
But yeah, at any rate, so they win. School is saved, hooray! And adorable celebration.
Yes.
And Maho just is absolutely thrilled that Miho's finally figured out her own way of Senshido. Maho is ecstatic about this. Like, she's not happy she lost, but she's so happy for her sister that she's finally happy. It's a wonderful little scene. Also, Miho's mom eventually sort of gives this grudgy, like, yeah, Miho's earned the applause.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
Fine.
It's literally her mom's like, it's not Nishizumi style, but damn, she's good.
All right. Fine.
She beat Maho.
guess-
She beat Maho. I can't argue this anymore.
I mean, I will because I'm me, but I can't do it with any real conviction.
And that's where the series ends. Now, there's Girls in Panzer, der Film, also.
Right.
I love the title, by the way. That's actually the title. It's Girls in Panzer, der Film. Great fucking title. The film is basically... we're not going to recap the full film because it would take forever because it's a 2-hour movie.
Right.
Yeah. It continues on almost directly from the anime.
Right. It starts
But
off
it
with
can
a
be
two
self-contained.
school. It starts off with a friendly match, which is 2 schools team allied together against 2 schools allied together, and it's Ori and the Chinese theme school whose name is frack. Let me look it up. So I can
Hang on,
find
I've
it.
got it.
I can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately.
It is Chiatan.
Yeah, with Chiatan. Chiatan, they've got a lot of fighting spirit.
They're orcs.
Get 'em, boys! Wah!
There is charging, and if you charge and fail, well, your allies will charge into because if you don't charge,
Yeah.
it's a loss of face, and it's like
You can't, what do you mean retreat? That's like We're losing honor.
There's a great bit where their radio goes out, so they have to yell over to between the tanks. It's like, we are retreating. We are charging. Gotcha.
And it's very it's not a misinterpretation by her. It's literally her. It's the leader of Chiatan. It's like, because she's the one who's actually able to like grasp the concept of like strategic retreats occasionally. Like
Right.
she would prefer to be charging, but she understands that Miho's in charge, and B, like, this might not be the right situation to charge. I don't know what the right thing
Seems
to do here is.
weird, but
Take into account the rest of the forces have all charged in blindly and got themselves taken out.
yes.
And she still wants to charge. To the point where one of them started to charge, and it took one of the Ori team to actually steer in front of them and block them off to say, no,
No, calm down, kid. Calm down.
this way.
Calm down.
There's a bit where they're actually like forcing her to drive the tank to drive away because they're much bigger than the little Chinese tank that they're in.
Yes.
It's like, no, I want to go fight. No, not now. And eventually, that tank actually starts zenning with the Uri. So specifically, it's Mallard Duck Team, the volleyball squad,
Right.
who are
Yes.
the second biggest fans of ambushing in the squad, behind the history
Behind
squad.
the history team. Right.
Team, yeah. Well, the volleyball team are the ones that pulled off the garage escalator trick.
Right, exactly.
They
keep
love
doing
that shit.
It's again. They're like, well, our tank sucks, so we got to do whatever the fuck we can to pull off something. Other than being really good at scouting, which we are, because
Yeah, the duck team and the Chiatan teams just become fucking best buds by the end of it. It's
Yes.
great.
It's great.
Charge the ducks.
And they're up against Pravda and Saint Gloriana.
Yeah.
Katyushka's nominally in charge, but the flag tank is Darjeeling in her Churchill.
With all the armor.
Fucking brick. Yeah.
And so the fight goes on, and Darjeeling's basically hiding out on a golf course in a bunker, basically using it just as the natural.
Using a sand trap as a bunker.
Which is brilliant because Darjeeling's really good.
Yeah.
And like she's waiting for like Pravda to bust her the basically Miho set up a beautiful encirclement, but it set up a defensive line to hold off Pravda. And Pravda's and eventually Pravda the Chiatan team charges and breaks their own the encirclement for them. Because
they think, oh, victory is ours, time to charge. And I was reading through the comments actually on the film, on the page that I got to watch it on.
Yeah.
And there's a great comment that popped up, and I read it to these two, and it's like, yeah. It's like those are the old British tanks, right? The ones that don't move and just sit there with armor. Yeah. They're not shooting back, are they? No. Yeah, they're just gonna wait until you run out of ammo and then fight back. They'll just weather that all fucking day.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so they actually caught this is a great bit where finally Katyusha breaks through, and because Uri has to fall back because of some of the Chiatan teams charging forward and getting themselves blown up, and okay, we're through, and Darjeeling's like, great, you're finally here. Shut up, I know I'm late. Took me longer to get through than I thought. Okay. But it leads into basically Uri's like, well, okay, they're flanking us now. Mio's like, what do we do? Run into the city.
Yeah.
Which everyone's like, oh, they're going into the city.
Yeah, and you can tell both Katyusha and Darjeeling are like, oh god, no.
Not this shit again.
But it ends up with lots of attrition. Uri and the few remaining Chiatan tanks whittling down the opposing forces, and it basically ends up with Miho versus Darjeeling at the end. It's like Miho against Darjeeling, and I think Katyusha, and that's it. And Katyusha basically Miho sets up a brilliant shot on Darjeeling, but Katyusha takes the shot for her, and Darjeeling finishes Miho off.
Yep.
So again, Miho loses to Darjeeling again. So the rest of the plot of that's what the movie opens with, is about a 20-minute long tank fight between this, maybe even a little bit longer. Then we get to the meat of the story of the movie, which is, it turns out that the fucker from MEXT, the organization that runs the schools, that was threatening to that was saying they were going to shut the school down. He's shutting the school down anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. He pulled some bullshit that, he only had a verbal agreement with, damn it,
With Anzu.
names.
Right.
Anzu.
Anzu, yeah. He only had a verbal agreement with Anzu. There was nothing in the written. It wasn't an actual agreement. It was just a suggestion. They took it under advisement.
Where they considered to close it earlier than before.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're closing it earlier than originally planned. And they're going to sell off the tanks, get rid of the tanks, and they're like, So Anzu does usual Anzu stuff because Anzu is politically brilliant. She basically starts calling in favors. So Sanders shows up in a galaxy, the American super cargo plane, and loads up all
the Starfleet vessel.
Right. They load up all of Orai's tanks and fly off, with Yuzu basically saying, "Yep, I filed paperwork that we've lost the tanks somewhere. Oops."
Check the side of a cliff, guys.
Yeah.
They're somewhere on the ship. No idea where. And so basically, there's a long period of time between where students are going to be able to transfer to their new schools. So basically, they're housing the MAXT are housing them on the mainland in those areas, and they're splitting them up basically by clubs. So the Senshidou team are all saving the same area. And so a couple of things happen, the important bits that happen are Miho goes off to her mom's house to get to basic, because in order to to go through the transfer papers to go to the new school, your guardian has to sign the papers. Miho's like, oh god, I gotta go talk to mom. So she goes back home. Basically, she's going back home, and the rest of the crew are her friends are like, we can come with you. And she's like, no, I can go alone. I'd love to have you come visit my home at some point, just not right now. Next time, please. And they're all like, okay, cool. So she goes home, and she runs into Maho outside, and Maho's like, okay, come along. And Maho basically goes and actually gets her mom's little sort of stamp and forges mom's signature on the transfer orders for her. She's like, yeah, I know you and mom don't want to talk to each other right now. I totally get it.
Guys, you're not in the best of places right now.
And it's like, mom would be totally I'm certain mom would basically just insist you come back to Kuramine. I know. You don't want to come back to Kuramine. I don't blame you. It's not your place. And so basically, the other thing is Anzu basically going through this chain of talking to people, trying to set something up. She talks to the head of the Senshidou Federation about this is lame. You guys are actually prepping for actual major tournaments, and they're closing down the team that won the tournament. Isn't that a big loss of face for the guys? And he's like, yeah, but I don't know what I can do. I don't have authority over Mexed. And she eventually comes up with this plan. Talking to their coach, the coach in the first episode, who is a student of Miho's mom, and which is mentioned when she shows up in the original series. So she goes to talk to Miho's mom and is like, "Hey, look, got this thing, and I've got a favor to ask of you, coach," because it's her old coach. And eventually, so we have the leader of the Senshidou Federation, Anzu, the Orai's coach, and Miho's mom. All shows up to talk to the Mex representative.
He's not happy with this.
No, he's not. And they start
He's
talking about
squirming.
they're talking Mayo's mom is like, seriously, why are you closing down the team? If you're seriously closing down the team that won the tournament, that's not cool. Seriously. That means you're clearly not taking Senshidou seriously, which means I can't realistically, sign on as the head of the pro team. And he's like, no. No.
Yeah, she basically goes, so they beat us last year. If you close down the school, we can't beat them next year.
Right. She wants a chance to get it back, which is totally understandable. Also, and he's like, well, if they were a more deserving school, maybe. And he's like, and they only won through luck. And Miho's mom gives him this look.
There is no luck in Senshidou. My daughters do not win by luck.
It's very clear. It's like it's like the fact that like she got lucky is something that she doesn't believe in general. And B,
Right.
are you accusing my daughter of winning only through luck and not being skilled? Like it's very clear
my
that's
daughter of losing to stupid skill.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, that's another thing as well.
Are you accusing my other daughter of losing because of stupid luck and being incapable of accounting for that?
Yeah, with one comment, he
just realized-
fucked up 3 times.
He just realized how deep a hole he just dug himself with those few words.
And so he's like, well, I guess maybe I guess if maybe they beat the university team, they are, et cetera. And at which point Anzo goes, okay, great. Got it in writing right here. Sign here. We'll do it. We'll fight the university, and if we win, we get our school back. It'll be in writing this time, right? And he's like, oh, I've been trapped.
It's been co-signed and witnessed by the heads of these various prestigious organizations that have been talking to you.
I love Anzu so goddamn much. She is fucking great. Okay, so, they come back, and she's like, yep, we got a match against the university team. And they're like, the university team. Okay. That's not good. Put us a chance. Okay, we can do this. Yeah, they've got 30 tanks. We have 8. Okay, well, Mio's like, okay, fine. Okay, we'll plan it out. I got a plan. Okay, we'll do this. We know where we're going to be fighting. We know where we'll just figure out which their flag tank is, nail it. The Mex representative comes up. By the way, all the Pro League stuff is going to be Total Annihilation, so this is going to be a Total Annihilation match because that's what they've been prepping for.
Oh, fuck.
And so we come to the big battle, and Miho comes walking out, muttering under her breath, okay, well, if we do this and this and this, maybe we can pull... We got to fight this way, this way, and this way. And so she's like there to do introductions, at which point the awesome starts happening. As several Kuramine tigers come driving up, led by Maho. And they come popping out in Urai school uniforms. It's like, we're here, we're parts of Kuramine, we're parts of Urai, here are our temporary transfer orders. And like the Mex guy's like, what? They can't bring their tanks. Well, they're private property technically, so yes, they can. At which point, Sanders shows up and Pravda shows up.
Gloriana
shows
the
up.
Chinese guys, and yeah.
Chiotan's the last to show up.
Pravada shows up and they're like, but I was going to make the cool entrance. God damn it, Sanders!
Well, they were going to make the cool entrance, but they were beaten there by both Kuramine and then Sanders.
Yes.
Even Anzo shows up.
Anzo shows up.
Veloce.
Yeah, they're one Carveloce because, we're not going to... Which ends up being really important.
Yes, they end up doing all the scouting for them.
Yeah.
And so we get this big battle between, the leader of the university team, who is this prodigy, who's the daughter of the leader of the Shimada style, who's this prodigy. So she's actually super young for being in university.
Yeah,
I believe she's supposed to be. She's old. She should be in high school, basically.
Yeah.
And the Mexican guy's like, well, this is clearly against rules. They can't just add more people. And the Sentinel people are like, well, no, technically, the only way it could possibly be is if the commander of the opposing team objected. Are you okay with this? She's like, I'm fine with it. Whatever. Fuck this.
Yeah, I'm down. Whatever. This is clearly bullshit.
There's the thing.
One...
Go ahead, Gav. Sorry.
There is one other addition that we didn't mention because they've not really popped up. They're literally only added into this for this. For the movie. Like
Chiatan. We also see the Continuation Academy. Who are
which are basically Finnish.
Yeah.
Right.
With their crazy Finnish tank.
So much fun.
We see them initially during the 2-on-2 battle watching, and one of them is like a normal person just watching the match, saying, "What do you think? What do you think?" to the person sat beside her, and the person sat beside her is playing like a Finnish lute and is just being all hipster as hippie as fuck. I'm not getting involved. I will go where the winds take me, and all this kind of shit. And it's like, okay, but then they show up in this Finnish tank, just them, one team, and they've transferred as well. They said, yeah, well, I don't really have any investment in this match, but I think it'll be kind of interesting.
It'll be fun.
Okay.
So they have a big strategy meeting, and Mio eventually comes up with a plan, and you can see that Maho's a little confused by Miho's plan. Because it turns out it's an entirely orthodox strategy. Because Miho, for the first time in the entirety of the series, is on equal grounds numerically.
Yes.
Yes. So she doesn't go for her usual tactics of playing the underdog. She goes straight out of her teachings from her Nishizumi school.
And so things go badly eventually, unsurprisingly. And part of it's due to the fact that
They're cheating.
They're not cheating, but they are. The university team is all running late war American tanks. So,
Yes. So, the good shit.
Pershings, Centurions, and a T-28 Super Heavy, and the Carl.
Which is just straight. Honestly, if the Carl counts as a tank, then the goddamn friggin' A-10 counts as a tank.
It's an open-topped, self-propelled heavy mortar.
Yeah. It's not a tank.
It's a step down from the fucking rail cannon, and that's about it.
Yeah. And fires giant fuck-off shells from 10,000 miles away.
It fires shells bigger than half of the fucking tanks that are
Yes.
the alright team.
Yeah, it's the Carl Morser Siege Mortar is what it's called.
And it is cheating.
That's basically an artillery piece that happens to be on treads.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they actually mention as well at one point when this huge explosion goes off, they're all between them saying, "What the hell was that? They can't use planes. It wasn't a bomber. Could it? Could it be
Artillery? That doesn't make any sense either.
And they're like, well, I didn't think they were allowed. I mean, we tried to buy one. The American team are like, yeah, we tried to buy one, but they said they didn't know whether they'd be allowed as legal yet. and it cuts back to the fucking stands, and the president is asking the weasel guy who's organising it all. He says, "You pushed through the
approval just now, didn't you?
You pushed through to allow the Carl to be legal, didn't you?"
I don't know what you're talking
Totally unrelated.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, fuck you.
But yeah, needless to say, so basically after things go badly for a while, they all regroup, and Maho basically looks at Miho like, "This isn't like you. Why aren't you fighting the way you fight, Miho?" And Miho's like, "God damn it, you're right, Maho." Right. Okay. Regrouping. Okay, looks at the map. Okay, we're going there, and they dive into not a city for once, but an amusement park.
Right.
Yes. Well, first off, they actually have to go deal with the Carl.
Oh yeah, they take out the Carl. Miho sends a squad of sends the Finns, the volleyball team, the student council team, and the Anzio tank cat off to deal with it.
Yeah. Now, this is the first point where you get to realize that, unlike the series, the film is playing much more fast and loose with physics.
Yes.
Yeah. Put
Because
it mildly.
there are bits in the series where if a tank cornered too hard, you'd see the people inside have to brace themselves because they paid that much attention to lead.
They do
and all
that. They do that a
stuff.
bunch in the movie too.
And they do it a little bit in the movie, but they don't have tanks backflipping off each other in the series.
No. Yeah, they actually try to catapult the Carveloce forward off of the rabbit off of the volleyball team's tank, and it goes sailing through the air and goes and accomplishes nothing at the Carl.
Yes, it lands basically on its hood.
Yep.
With its
And
tracks
eventually,
in the air.
they eventually turn it into a ramp for the Hetzer to go flying off of and shoot its gun down the barrel of the Carl, taking it out. Meanwhile,
the whole time the Finns are playing polka and leading the rest of the the Guardian unit on a merry chase, having tons of fun.
They are pulling it fucking Roadrunner style 2 or 3 times. They're just running around.
It is fucking hilarious. It is brilliant. It is fun. Like again, yeah. It's apparently the Finns are using the BT-42 assault gun is what it's called. It's not technically a tank, but it might as well be.
No, which it proves when it loses its tracks and goes, oh well, we've got decent suspension anyway. Off we go.
Which apparently is something that thing can do.
Right.
It loses its tracks. Okay, I'm not so much off-road now, but I'm still a buggy.
Whee!
And it's great because, they blow off the tracks, it does a flip, the Polka stops, it lands face up, and they're like, keep going, keep going. Polka starts up again.
And it takes out 2 Pershings while a bit of rock falls on top of a third.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They do a wonderful job. They're great. Anyways, they go into the city and they go into the fairgrounds, and it's this epic series of feint, counter feint. Oh God, we're outnumbered. Something absurd happens, which is awesome.
The Chinese team finally learned about ambushes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, like the best part is like they're planning on charging like at one point, and the one that the duck team kept from running the duck team kept from running in. Basically, they're like, no, we probably shouldn't charge them. They're all like, what? You're spinning on our traditions? I'm sorry, but do you have it? But the captain's like, wait, no. Do you have an idea? And her idea is, well, the duck team keeps doing this ambush thing. Maybe we should try that. Okay, let's try.
And it works.
And it works. It's great.
They literally use ducks.
They use these rubber duck things, the rubber duck floaty things over top. It's brilliant.
Yeah, they
Other
hide
great little
themselves
bits are the Anzio, once they're in the fairgrounds, drives their Caravaggio up on top of the roller coaster at a spot.
so they can scout. It's such a small thing you can't see the damn thing, even though it's up there.
And it's just it's great. And eventually, the team commander, the Prodigy, eventually commits to the fight. And oh my God, her and her crew are engines of destruction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, they are maneuvering like a light tank, and just, they don't miss.
They're
and
in
eventually,
the Centurion, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in a Centurion. And it ends with, it's her versus Miho and Maho. And the fight between those three is epic.
It's a good fight.
It's not as good as Miho versus Maho from the series. I will say that flatly.
No, because it plays a little bit more fast and loose. There's a lot more rule of cool.
Yes.
But it's still a really good fight and fun.
Yeah.
And, of course, Miho and Maho win through a remarkably absurd maneuver, but it's great.
It's a rocket punch!
Basically.
It basically is a rocket punch, and it's awesome, and I love it.
And so and they win, hooray. The school is actually saved this time, because they have it in fucking writing.
I will say I'm a little annoyed that they redid the whole we have to win to save the school thing.
I agree.
But
the way they did it made sense.
I actually kind of liked it, though, because it let them develop some of the lesser characters, like the student council. They were great. Not the student council, the morale committee.
Yes.
Yes.
We didn't mention
Yes,
that.
the whole bit, one of the teams we forgot to mention was the disciplinary committee.
Yep.
Yes.
We didn't mention them or the computer gamers.
Right.
And the computer gamers are great in this as well.
Yes.
They're one of the best parts of the movie.
There are a bunch of basically computer nerds who play like World of Tanks and sort of stuff online, and they wanted to join in. And but they are computer nerds, and they're girl computer nerds as well. So like a light breeze just blows them over.
So like
until at the end, they decide they need to, if they're going to do this, they need to actually be able to do it and be capable of doing it. And by the end of it,
they are all jacked.
They're just one-arming shells into the breach, and that's
it's great. But like they set that up by showing them working out earlier.
Yes.
Because this show does that.
Yes. And every time they cut to them during downtime, they are working out.
Right.
There's actually a great bit of symmetry involving the team because in the series they're the first tank to get taken out against the Nozumi, against Kuroni, right? Because their driver can't shift fast enough. And this one, they get taken out because the driver shifts so hard she breaks the lever.
Yes.
It's great, but they do really well before that is a thing. They're actively good in
yes.
this during the movie.
But like the clever with like again going back to the disciplinary team, their whole thing is they're a weird little group. They're not. I don't think they're sisters, but they dress alike. They have the same haircut.
Yep.
And they just basically like look after they're the ones that pull up Mako all the time for being late because that's what they do. They stand at the door and wait for people to be late. They're the ones that call attendance and all this. They're the rules of the school. And when the school was under threat, they were gung ho and will get involved in all the rest of it. And when that was taken away from them, they collapsed.
Yes.
Just emotionally, just didn't want to know anymore. They just gave up. They didn't bother with roll call. It was like, look, we're here. You've got to do your jobs. Okay, fine. Is everyone here? Yes. Done.
The thing is, them and Mako have a very contentious relationship because Mako just does not give the least of fucks about their moralizing or their attempts to enforce the rules or anything like that. But it's a friendly sort of rivalry. Like there's a lot of unspoken enjoyment in the game of giving each other shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's affectionate shit giving.
Yep. But
And
yeah,
it's largely Mako that gets them up and moving every time. Because it's like, I can't believe our roles are reversed.
yeah. So yeah, that's basically Girls and Panzer. I mean, we could have gone into more detail on the plot and the episodes and how things go, but I really don't want to spoil the fights.
No.
Yeah.
We'd be here all night doing that anyway.
Yeah,
but-
we're actually going kind of long as it is.
And this is a short series.
It's 12
Oh, there's
episodes.
a lot.
I mean, we covered the movie too, but it's 12 episodes.
Yeah.
At any rate, we should probably wrap things up here. There are things I do want to talk about, and I will talk about when I'm doing my recap, my sort of final thoughts. But so final thoughts. Start with Eric, then Gav, then me.
All right. So, on the surface, I should not enjoy this show. I generally don't enjoy slice of life. Cute girls doing cute things are not enough for me. There's a reason why I haven't seen K-On! I've tried. It's just I find it terminally boring despite being beautifully animated, which tells you something. But it turns out all you really need to do is add a tournament arc and fucking tanks, and I'm on board. I enjoy pretty much all of the characters. As previously stated, Mako's my favorite. They use actual tanks and actual tactics. Nothing feels cheap. It's all earned. And they spend time developing their characters. Like I said, all the characters are interesting. Mako's the best. And it even has occasional emotional moments where they're just like, okay, that was a sweet moment, and I kind of felt something there. Well done. And yeah, cute girls doing cute things, but tournament arc and tanks.
Yeah, they do well with this. Where I mean, like you said, I mean, most of the things that you've mentioned there, everything's earned, everything's well written. Even the minor characters get developed as much as they need.
Yep.
And I mean, I'll just say, way back when I brought up, and I did it in this review, I brought up things like build fighters and all.
Right.
It's very much a similar sort of tale. A transfer student moves in, he's introduced to the local sort of, in a way, and then goes off through the tournament. But it's just that different style. It's very much, I wouldn't say a sensitive show. It's not like over the top, oh my god, super action, brain dead like Build Fighters was. It was intelligent for it. It's all thought out. Everything's earned. Everything's planned. You see the tactics that are involved. The characters on a constant episode by episode basis display their knowledge of what they're talking about. It's not just, oh, I saw this shit on TV. Let's try it. Well, apart from the Grots. But
Yeah, the Crows actually come up with their best plans by watching old war movies.
yes, fair play to them. You know, they're the least experienced. Their first years, they've got to get their ideas from somewhere, and every now and again, it works. But yeah, I recommend this. I mean, I've watched it twice now. I'll probably end up watching it again before too long. The movie is its own beast. It does follow on directly from the show. I wouldn't say it's completely standalone. And again, it is a slightly different style when it comes to the actual battles themselves, but it's still good. Yeah, I would definitely recommend. Also, Eric, I am very disappointed with you.
Why is that?
Because as much as we've talked about Mako and how awesome she is, we haven't mentioned her fucking crowning glory moment.
Oh, which one was this? She has so many.
Well, yeah, the bit that always stood out and had me and Eric specifically laughing. And again, this is why she became our spirit animal. There's one part where she's like, "Wait, what do you mean? Okay, I agreed to drive, but no one said anything about getting up at 6 a.m."
Right, because it's okay. I expect you all here at 6. I quit. Why do you mean you quit? You can't quit. I quit.
Yeah.
Why? Because
no one gets up.
At 6 o'clock in the morning. No one can get up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
And someone is like, "Oh, well, actually, you know, we got to be here by 6. You've probably got to get up by 5."
Does 5 o'clock even exist?
she just gives them this blank, dead stare, and it's like, "Nope, nope."
So she almost collapses when they say that.
Yes.
If
you quit, then you won't get those extra credits, which means you'll be held back here. Which means you have to call me Senpai. Sen, and your grandmother will find out. Fuck. Okay.
Fine. But the way Mark, I mean, like I say, I know I'm leaving this a bit late to go into it, but the other girls are very much Japanese high school students, like the stereotypical sort of thing. Mako is a fantastic straight man to that.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. She makes a lot of the interactions that go on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Mako. She's great. Yeah, yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I mean, I obviously adore this show. It is a lot of fun. The writing is sharp and clever. The characters are all well thought out, and as Eric said, everything is earned, and earned beautifully. It's sweet and heartwarming at the right moments. It's sad when it needs to be. There are a number of fuck yeah moments. The tactics are great. The sound design is amazing.
Yes, we didn't mention the sound.
Yes.
Oh my god, like they just fucking nail the sound, the way the tanks sound.
Even just the turning of a turret.
The turning of a turret, like seriously.
Or changing gear.
The sound that the mouse makes in the final is fucking scary. You're just sitting there going,
a good part of my love for the mouse is the way it's presented when it shows up, and that ratcheting, clanking noise of the turret just ominously swinging towards the rest of the team.
Yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, the sound design's great. The music's really good. I mean, most of it is march music from the respective companies. But there's other unique stuff in there. Like, the opening theme is...
catchy as all hell.
Oh my god, it's catchy. And so's the closing theme. It's just... And the animation is better than average, I would say.
Yeah, there's nothing great about the animation, honestly, except for... It does a good job of integrating CG and 2D.
Yes.
Does a better job than most shows.
Yep.
They do one thing that that Peter pointed out, and we've complained about this with other shows before, is there's a couple of scenes where something happens and they show the crowd and they use still shots.
Yep.
But they use them sparingly and really well whenever they were actually needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they know how to cut budget, but effectively.
They did that budget just for the eye shine in that one scene. They really wanted to do the eye shine in that one scene. There's one bit where, like, there's a little emotional moment where they tell
Miho that she can go and help the Grots. And I swear to God, like, it's like they threw out the old animation team, brought in the best guys they could get. Okay, make these eyes look teary. Okay.
It's great. It really is. But, I love the relationship between the characters. Seriously, Goosefish team, Miho's
Yes.
squad. It is completely believable these 5 girls have become close friends.
Yep.
Their bonds are completely believable because of
It's a little quick at first with Hana, Miho, and Sayori. But that's the one thing that's not quite earned, because they're suddenly like besties right off the bat. But then they bring in Mako and Yuki, and those take a little bit of time and makes everything else around it believable, so I'm down.
The speed of it also is... It's very clear that Hana and Sayori are trying to... Or it's that they're reaching out to Miho.
Yes.
They are... For me, it really felt... It's Miho basically going, oh my God, people are trying to be friends with me. Thank you.
Yes.
And just latching on to that. And those two are... it's the way they're wired, is they want to be friends with this girl. Because, as Sayori said, you seemed interesting because you're not like everybody else, so...
Right.
We
should hang out.
Right. And by the end, it's completely believable they're a team. They are true companions. It's great. And the way they work together and hang out together, and it's really sweet and lovable. It's great. Yukari's fangirling over Miho all the time is kind of early on.
Yes,
great too.
it is an early on trait. She gets over it eventually, but it's cute.
Because Yukari recognizes Miho from the previous year's tournament. She goes, "Oh my God, it's you! You're really good." But Miho's rediscovery of her confidence in her abilities as a tank commander and unit leader is also believable. Watching her sort of taking those steps and earning the trust of her team it's all they all immediately sort of assume she knows more than they do because she does. But it takes until the Pravda match for them to basically fully get behind her as their commander. Like, yes, we will follow you where you go. We will we totally trust you now. We get that.
Yep.
It's because they don't fully agree with her orders at the beginning of the Pravda match. But after things go badly, and she still comes up with a way to pull through, and she basically says, "No, we're gonna win. I've got a plan to try to win this. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it calmly. We're not gonna freak out, and we're gonna do it the way to make sure nobody gets hurt. We're gonna minimize risk." And they're all like, they're finally hearing what she's saying, and I fucking love that. It's the moment when the team becomes hers.
Yes,
and it's earned by that point. And it's her patience with them is just because again, it's these moments of her there's her learning to have fun with Senshado is also one of those things. Like the moment after the Sanders match when Kay comes up to them after they win, and Kay's like, Mio asks Kay, why did you only bring 5 tanks? If you'd brought all 10, you would have won easily. And Kay's like, that wouldn't have been sporting. And Mio's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't, but what? And Kay's like, it's Senshado, it's a sport, not like life and death. And Mio's like,
what?
Yeah. Why are you suddenly started speaking in a foreign language?
But that sort of thing, it gets it. You can see that working her way into her head. She's like, yeah, it's a sport. It isn't life or death. It's important. It's what I love to do. But it's not yeah, it's
not the end of the world.
Right, exactly. We can come back next year. This is not actual warfare.
No one's dying here.
Right. It's really clever, and it's watching her development is one of my as much as Maho's my favorite character just from an entertainment standpoint. Miho is my favorite character from a writing standpoint. Because her development and growth over the course of the show is earnest and believable and earned. And she is still fundamentally the same person she is at the beginning, but she has grown into a better leader and commander, and she's gotten her life back, basically. She's a whole person again at the end of the show, which I really enjoy. I just love watching her story. It's a really good story. And I really love the show. I really do. And like Eric, I didn't think I was going to when I first watched it. I heard a bunch of people talking about it and said, Girls und Panzer, this sounds stupid, but what the fuck? I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, the way I picked it up was, you know what? I'm in the mood for stupid trash right now. Like, I won't be in 20 minutes, so this is 20 minutes long. I'll watch this. Oh, this is good. This is not what I wanted at all, but it is what I want.
Yeah, this is what I want now. 20 minutes have passed.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's a hearty round of recommendations from us.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's the best thing ever.
Oh, it's not. No.
But it's a lot more entertaining than you'd think.
Yeah, honestly, it's just a very good show that is fun and honestly, I'll say it flatly, it makes me happy watching it.
Yeah.
It is not the best show ever. It's not as smart as say Psychopaths, for instance.
Right.
We haven't really covered
or as
anything.
gut-wrenching as Saikano.
Right. Like, seriously, the two smartest shows we've watched are probably Psychopaths and Madoka Magica, honestly. I would say they're likely the two smartest shows we watched. And, it doesn't do an ensemble quite as well as, say, Yamato did, or, and it's not, obviously it's not a brilliant comedy the way that, Slayers or Nadesco or Tyler are. It's its own thing, and it's the reason I wanted to cover it is because I've never seen a show quite like it.
Well, it's like I said, a lot of tournament shows go for the brash. Most of them are boys for a start. They're very much shonen series. And they're very much the brash, willpower overcomes, and all this sort of shit. This is a take on it where the brain works over anything else, and it's intelligence and it's planning and strategy. It's a sitting down, thoughtful take on the tournament anime rather than fighting spiritu.
Right, exactly.
Hey, man, who the hell do you think we are?
At any rate, that's going to do it for this time. So yeah, we all really like Girls und Panzer and really do recommend it. Go watch it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It manages to take what Girls und Panzer manages to take what should be a rote sort of thing, but does it well enough that you're like, no, this is pretty awesome. I'm down.
Yep. So anyways, that's going to do it for this week. Eric, do you have our next recommendation for us?
Yeah. Fuck it, we'll do Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Blood Blockade Battlefront, okay.
With a ridiculous name.
Yes.
And an equally ridiculous... yes. It's a ridiculous name with an equally ridiculous premise.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.